got it locked on Roadium Radio.
Hey Tony, drop that. What bass?
I bet. Dr. Dre in the place to be. Co-rockin' shit with my homeboy Steve. After Roadium, get stupid some. Yo, don't think that you can get none of Dre. The motherfucking doctor, the bitch hopper, the sucker motherfucking stopper. I'm fucked up, so don't mind what I'm saying. I'm just kicking it with Steve, Tony, A, and Susan. Yo, we be choosing dope shit to put in a mix. Know what I'm saying? We kick shit like and that's a fact. And if your shit ain't in the mix, you know it's whack. And that ain't no bullshit. I'm kicking facts on a serious tip. Word up, Dr. Dre's in full effect doing serious damage, boy.
Tony A! Tony A! When you're ready, go.
Welcome back, everybody, to Roadium Radio, episode 132. I'd like to welcome everybody on the live chat, everybody that's not on the live chat is just home checking it out. I want to thank the subscribers, the viewers, those that commented, those that are liking, those that are disliking, those that are talking crap. It doesn't matter. It's all good. All controversy is good controversy. So keep it coming. But I'm thankful that you guys tuned in on this Wednesday, historical night here. Before I introduce my very special guest, who is a huge part, if big cornerstone to West Coast hip hop, at least in my opinion, and a lot of people's opinions. But before that, once again, we are selling ads on DOCUMIXERY.com. You can go to DOCUMIXERY/ads, and there you can buy an ad that we can play during the break. All the info is there. Some of you have hit me up today and told me, can I get my ad on today? I tried to do it, but my cutoff time is 2 o'clock. If you don't send me your ad by 2 o'clock on the day of a Wednesday or a Sunday, I cannot put it in. We have so much going on here. But I will be releasing a flyer because we are also looking for another intern because Roadium Radio is growing. So those of you that are tech savvy, that are computer savvy, hit us at rodiumradio@gmail.com because we are looking for another intern. Once again, it's growing. We're hoping that by mid this year, or hopefully by the end of the year, we're going to have another building, a bigger building, where we're going to have Roadium Radio, Freaky Tales, and another podcast that I'm hoping to be doing soon. So keep your ears open for that. For those of you that want to buy merch, hats, shirts, beanies, hard copy CDs, downloads, you can go to DOCUMIXERY.com, and there you will find everything. But you'll see all of that during the breaks. Once again, all day today, I like to use the word I was geeked out all day today because to me, I have someone here in my presence that is a huge part to West Coast hip hop. And you know what? I can sit here and hype it all up, but I'd rather have this man share his story so that you guys can appreciate it from the way they say it from the horse's mouth. So other than that, please allow me to introduce my very special guest, Carmelo Alvarez. ¿Cómo estás?
Bien, primo.
That's good. You know what? I know it's Wednesday.
Yeah.
How was your Wednesday?
I spend Wednesdays with my mom. She's 85 years old.
Really?
And, I got to appreciate her now.
Yeah.
And she took her COVID vaccine today.
Really?
In fact, yeah, she took her COVID vaccine. And I'll share more about it because she also used to volunteer in Radiotron. She used to actually take the bus from Whittier all the way to MacArthur Park because when I opened the Radiotron, my mother decided that she wanted to volunteer and do something for the community. So my father took her car keys away and her checkbook and said, tú y tu hijo están locos. But my mother did, she's hardcore. She's like, well, yo me voy en el bus,
Right.
So she came in the bus all the way to MacArthur Park, which is where we grew up.
Okay.
So she knew the neighborhood. We used to go to the Piojito right there on Alvarado and 7th Street.
Okay.
When we went to Catholic school, she'd buy us like the shirts and stuff, like mismatched. One sleeve longer than the other.
Right.
But 6 kids,
Yeah.
But my
family.
mom knew my mom, so there's a time when my mom was volunteering at Radiotron, you know.
Yeah.
She ran the snack bar, and the kids called her Mama Breaker.
Mama Breaker.
Yeah. So when the women would come and, you know, find out about what kind of place is this, because it was all graffitied and they were scared, like it's pandillas and.
Right.
So I vienen las mamás, you know, with their kids, you know.
Right.
And I'll go. I told my mom, you know, you're gonna work with me, but I'm gonna call you Sofia because I want to keep it professional. I'm not gonna go, Ama.
That's the way we would do it.
Ama. So we go,
Right.
Sofia, can you talk? Hable con la señora, you know.
I know that must have been odd because I could never call my mother by her first name.
I mean, you know,
of course.
I had to discipline myself, you know. And she went along with it. Me and my mom have a great relationship. She's my best friend.
That's awesome.
She's my best friend, like all my life until today, you know.
Same thing with me.
Yeah.
That's the one thing that I could say that my mother was my best friend, and even though she's no longer here, neither is my father. You know, I've shared in other episodes that to me that's probably even still now today one of the hardest things for me to still deal with because she's no longer here.
So that's why now that I have time, I dedicate, you know, one day to spend with her.
That's awesome.
And so she would go like to the Pejito and say, hey, can you donate some toys, you know, for the kids? My son has a youth center down there.
Uh-huh.
So they go, okay, yeah, get a shopping cart and fill it. And then she'd run over to the fire department, you know, because she found out they had like Toys for Tots. So she goes, hey, my son has a youth center, you know. So one Christmas, a fire truck pulled up with toys. And there was a gentleman from Otis Art Institute named Al Nodell. And he had rented a Santa suit because he wanted to go to the Optimist Club where they had kids, you know, with handicaps, you know.
Yeah.
And he volunteered to be Santa Claus. So he called me and goes, hey, you know, I got the suit. Let me come down and just show the kids, you know, Santa. So he arrived right at the same time that the fire truck was coming with toys. Mm-hmm. So he jumped up on the fire truck and he gave toys to the Radiotron kids, like that Christmas, you know.
Wow.
But it was because my mom went hustling, you know, down 7th Street,
right,
asking. And then when she was doing that, there was a paletero who was getting a ticket for selling without a license, right?
And around what year was this?
This was in 1980, from 83 to 85. But this was about 84 when this happened. And so the paletero was an older gentleman, about 60 years old, you know, and he didn't speak English. So my mom goes, véngase, señor, you know, my son has a center with kids, véngase. So she brought the paletero, right?
Right.
So the paletero, I would let the paletero be in the lobby, and he would console the kids. There was this kid named Handy Kid, who was like handyman,
right?
But he was younger. He was like 12. And the paletero was from El Salvador, and Handy Kid was El Salvador.
Okay.
And Handy Kid was bitter because he said, if I had been born in America, I wouldn't have got polio because they have vaccines here, and in Salvador they didn't have the vaccine. So he was bitter. So El paletero would be like, I think they come chipote or something. No, chipote. But I noticed the paletero at the end of the Radiotron night, when we're locking up, I know the paletero was a little, like kind of shifting a little bit.
Right, right.
So I observed him. I hid. Paletero had two things other than paletas in his little carrito. He had a Bible. He would bring out the Bible. But he also had una botellita.
Una botellita.
But you know, the nice paletero. So my mom brought the paletero.
Okay, okay.
So they call my mom Mama Breaker.
Mama Breaker.
A lot of the kids will remember her.
You know, I know you mentioned you lived around MacArthur Park. Mm-hmm. Where originally are your parents from? Are they from Mexico or
they're from here? So originally, we're from El Paso.
Okay.
So my mother's from El Paso and my father's from Chihuahua.
Okay.
So my father, you know, crossed the border, met my mother at the Oasis restaurant, where my father was a cook and my mother was a waitress.
Okay.
They had like the soda fountains back in the days, you know. Mm-hmm. So my mother says that one time these soldiers came in, one of them was black, and the manager told my mother to tell the black guy that he couldn't be in there, and my mother said, no, I'm not doing that. So from the beginning, my mother already, when she tells us the stories,
right,
she's already instilling in us, don't be racist, you know.
Of course.
And you said no, and then so my mother didn't know that my father was telling all the clients that was her girlfriend. My mother didn't know. So she's like, what? You know, so my father got his uncles to call my grandma and ask for my mother's hand in marriage. So my mother came home and my grandma goes, hey, you know, vino el tío de Carmelo. My father's Carmelo, I'm junior, right? Carmelo. And he said, well, that he wanted to marry you. She goes, well, how come he didn't tell me? So my grandma goes, do you want to marry him or not? Mom goes, yeah. So then my father called. He goes, what did you say? ¿Por qué no me dijiste? Dice, pues, ¿qué dijiste? Pues dije que sí. Okay, bye. He ran down there, you know.
Wow.
So they got married on Christmas, and the party lasted till New Year's, because everybody's on vacation. So todo el rancho, you know, from Chihuahua to el rancho, and all the factory workers were on vacation.
And just celebrated
for a week.
Wow.
So then in 1959, my father became a raitero.
Okay.
When they did the bracero, and they were allowing them to come across and work in the fields.
Right.
So my father was part of that cottage industry of buying a station wagon, because Greyhound wouldn't pick up Mexicans. So the Mexicans would be on the road. So my father bought a station wagon, and he would give rides to the workers and take them to like Fresno and Bakersfield. So one day, my father wasn't coming home, taking a long time to come back to El Paso. So my mom goes, pack your bags, we're going to Los Angeles. So we arrived at Union Station in 1959. I was like 2 or 3 years old. Wow. And I remember seeing the red cars, los tranvías, you know.
Yeah.
Electricity. I literally arrived at Union Station.
Wow.
In 1959. And then we moved to Pico Union. We moved around Westmoreland, Venice area.
Okay.
And we would go to MacArthur Park like every Sunday for picnics, you know. So I grew up there, right west of downtown. MacArthur Park, Pico Union, downtown LA, Broadway. And that's where I grew up, bro.
So you went to elementary school here and high school out here?
Yeah, I went to my mother put all of us in a Catholic school, St. Thomas.
Okay.
That's right off of Normandy and near Pico, Normandy area.
Okay.
So went there. It was like in the 60s. So, man, we lived a lot of the whole 60s trip. You know, so see, I thought you were going to ask me about sports, because you always ask anybody.
We're getting there.
Are you into sports?
Yeah, we're getting there.
So I'm going to jump ahead
Yes.
and answer the question about sports, right?
Okay.
So when I was in elementary school and it was my turn to bat,
okay,
everybody would be like, that's it, we lost.
Really?
Yeah, because I always strike out, right? And then when they were picking teams for basketball, they'd be like, you can have them.
Like that?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because I was short. And so I would always fight, because they would always be like trying to pick on me, like, hey, Shrimpy. And I'll be like, boom, boom, boom. Like, I'll bring down bullies, you know, like I would bring them down. Like, I would fight like 2 bullies at the same time, give them headlocks, you know.
Wow.
So it's very coordinated in some way, but not athletic in sports.
Right.
But I was good in boxing, you know.
Oh, yeah.
So the nuns, you know, they didn't know what to do with me, so I told them I wanted to do art. So they gave me a room during recess and lunch. I had my own like room with art supplies, and they told me I could pick one friend to join me. So I picked this guy named John, and he taught me psychedelic art. So we're painting like psychedelic art, and then he turned me on to Cream, you know, like Sunshine of Your Love. Dun, 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 dun. So that song was out, and we were hearing that, painting psychedelic art.
Wow.
Yeah. But my first music was Motown. So we'd go to the little dances, you know, in elementary school, and we danced the Pearl and the Bear Hug. See, they weren't oldies then; they're oldies now. But
right,
you're talking, you know, like La 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 Means I Love You and Cowboy to Girl, and you know, Smokey Robinson and the Miracles, the Temptation, Marvin Gaye, all those.
Here's a question for the younger generation, because this younger generation, of course, we call these songs oldies.
Yeah.
Back then, they were not oldies.
No.
So what was the name that you would refer to it? Just Motown?
Soul.
Soul music.
Yeah, that was soul music. Yeah.
Okay.
The
Wow.
label was Motown, but the genre was soul.
Okay.
Yeah, Marvin Gaye, Al Green, they were soul singers, bro. Soul singers.
Right.
And then the Beatles came, like the rock. They invaded, the British invasion, you know.
Right.
So my sisters, I had four sisters, right?
Wow.
And I have a brother. My brother came later, but I basically grew up with 4 sisters and me in the middle, like 2 older, 2 younger. My mother says like bendito entre las mujeres. So you know, so my father says girls inside, boys outside, and I'm like, but I'm the only boy. Who do I play with? So I heard some kids laughing, you know. So I followed the laughter, and there was these 2 kids, you know, playing. And I just joined in, and we started playing tag without even talking. And then I hear somebody yell, "Get away from that Mexican!" And I'm like 4 years old. I didn't know what a Mexican was. Like, I thought it was a bug. So I'm like, oh, Mexican, Mexican, right?
Right.
And then we kept playing. So then again, I said, get away from that Mexican. So these two kids pick up rocks and they stoned me. That's why I have a scar right here.
Oh, wow.
And I ran away and they caught me. And then I saw the blood and I picked up a rock. But I lived up the hill and they were downhill.
Right.
So when I got a rock and I threw that rock down the hill.
That motherfucker.
Oh, man. But I didn't cry. I bled, but I didn't cry. That's my first time that I ever experienced that. Like, why are they mad at me? What did I do?
Right.
Why are they calling me Mexican? Is that a bad thing? Am I a monster? What is that? Because they don't explain to you when you're growing up. And we grew up in El Paso. We talk calo. We mix Spanish and English,
Right.
That's natural for us.
Right.
When I talk to my mom, we mix half, así como estamos hablando.
Spanglish, I guess
Sí,
you
estamos hablando, de repente, que vamos a la tienda, que,
Yeah.
okay, well, let's go to Denny's.
Yeah.
We mix it up. It's natural for us. But there was no specifically like, son, come here, let's have a talk. You are a Mexican or you're a Chicano. No, we didn't. It's normal, bro. You're just growing up.
Right.
So there was a tree there, un arbolito. And when that happened to me, I went to that little tree. And I made friends with los pajaritos, and they were dropping eggshells. And then I picked up a stick and I started drawing. It's my first artwork, drawing on the dirt. And then my father taught me how to hammer, como clavar un clavo. And I go, I want a treehouse. So I built a treehouse. Once I built the treehouse, all the kids came. So I've been building treehouse ever since.
Really?
Radiotron, Peace and Justice, they're all treehouses, bro. Because when I built it, kids come and play, bro. They come. That's the root of why I do what I do. That's what I'm doing. I'm recreating that every time.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and in that treehouse, you could be anything. Like me, I was Robin Hood, and we take the twigs from the tree, the inner tubes of the tires,
Yes.
cut them and make like bow and
Slingshots
arrows,
or some-
slingshots, bow and arrows. So we were Robin Hood. I was Wolfman. My friend was Dracula. The other guys were Frankenstein.
That's awesome.
Like we were in the treehouse, and that led me to theater. Later.
Right.
But at that time, I was just using my imagination and playing as a kid.
Yeah.
So when I went to high school, I tried out for football.
Okay.
So the coach said, no, you're too short. And I go, you're discriminated against me. He goes, okay, I'll let you try out. So I passed all the tests. They clocked me. I made it. So the first day, I went to Cathedral High School, right?
Okay.
So first game, helmets, cleats, shoulder pads. We're all running out there. So they put me on the bench, and I go, that's okay. I'll get my chance. So they're calling numbers like, number 54 replacing number 24. I'm like, oh, I better check to see what number I am.
Right.
You know what number I was? Blank. No number. The guy had no intention of ever letting me play.
Wow.
He just let me go through all that. So I got mad. I started cursing, fuck you, man, you're a fucking asshole. In my mind, I saw the whole stadium,
Right.
all the bleachers laughing at me. Ah! I mean, that didn't happen like that, but
Right.
in the imagination of a kid, like 14 years old, that's what I saw.
Because you felt he made a fool of you.
Yeah, I felt humiliated. So they brought the priests out, the brothers, it's a Catholic high school. They brought the brothers out, and I'm cursing them out, And then the brother goes, well, you should have joined the drama club. We're doing a play called Oliver Twist, and you would make a great street urchin. And I go, street urchin? What's a street urchin? He goes, it's like a hoodlum. So I was like, oh, you want to see a hoodlum? Oh, I'll show you a hoodlum. So I left school. I took the bus, and on the way there, I saw they were protesting, Free los tres, Free los tres. And then back then, along Hill Street, they would have valet parking, so they would put the keys under the car, right? Mm-hmm. So I watched them, and they put the key, inside under the wheel, and
Yeah.
so I went over there, hi, mister, and then I opened the car, I got the keys, I started the car, and I drove up to Woolworths, where there was a bunch of homies kicking it right there.
Right.
And I drove up, and I go, "Orale, you guys want to go cruising?" They're like, "Yeah."
Hell yeah.
So they all jumped in. So I started running with the gang on Broadway because of the rejection of sports.
Right.
But then one day, there was this guy named Güero, but he was preto.
Yeah, right. You come the opposite.
Yeah. He was preto, short, big glasses, Güero, And there was a guy waiting for the bus, a Chicano, long-haired Chicano guy. This was 1970, 71, And he goes, hey, vato, give me some feria. And the Chicano was like, I don't got any money, homie, but if I did, I would give it to you. He said, give me some feria. And the guy goes, hey, calm down. Hey, we're all Raza, man. Haven't you heard of the Chicano moratorium? Did you hear about the walkouts, man? There's a movimiento, man. We're all Raza. And when the guy got on the bus, the guy stabbed him in the back. And I saw the blood gush out. So I was like, dude, that's not in me, man. That's not me.
Right.
I mean, I was doing crazy shit, but that's not me. Like, so I remember my teacher saying, go to Barnesdale's, like an after-school art program. So I went over there, and that's where I met a guy named Chester Whitmore, another kid. He was like, I was like 15, he was like 16. And he goes, hey, you want to be in my tap troupe? And I don't know what he saw in me, but he invited me to be in his tap troupe.
Right.
In fact, today he's on, I posted him, he's doing a special for Black History Month.
Okay.
On Central Avenue, jazz,
Right.
So Chester invited me to be in his tap troupe, and he took me to Inner City Cultural Center. There was a dance studio, and he introduced me to a guy named Faye Nicholas, who was one of the Nicholas brothers from the tap dance duo. The Nicholas brothers were the first African Americans to appear in Fred Astaire movies, and they did a movie called Stormy Weather with Lena Horne.
Yes.
And that scene, that tap dance routine, even Fred Astaire says, is the greatest filmed tap routine. And I learned from him. That was Chester was their protege. And then a year later, I'm ragtime dancing. 3 years later, I'm doing Black Musical Crenshaw Boulevard. So my first experience in entertainment and in doing theater was that. Wow. Tap dancing, ragtime dancing, Black musicals. Wow. And I was telling your friend here that when we would do the shows, the Black audiences, they really cheer the actors, like, work it, give them face.
Right.
Like, woo, like they really encourage that,
They were into it.
Yeah, I mean, they really give a porras, like
yes.
Mexicans do that, like,
right.
Échale, But, but Raza, we're a little bit more...
Say, wait, no, serious,
no, Raza's a little bit more...
Conservative?
Laid back, And so that was my first experience. And then after that, that center was on Pico and New Hampshire, near Pico and Vermont. And noticed that, hey, we don't have any cultural centers here. Where's there a Chicano cultural center?
Right.
So there was this old abandoned porno theater called Fiesta on Pico and Hoover.
Really?
And that's where they would sell, like all the Raza would be selling marijuana there. Like it was like an open market, right?
Okay.
So I went and approached the owner, and he goes, okay, how much? So I gave him a budget, and he funded me to open that theater. But he goes, I have people flying in from Mexico. Can you get it ready in 2 weeks? I go, yeah. So I hired all the guys that were selling the dope. I got them painting.
No shit.
I got them working, So we opened on time, And then we opened on time. And that was my first theater that I opened in 79, right?
What motivated you to open up a theater?
Because I saw like African Americans like Bernard Jackson, who was the founder of Inner City.
Right.
He motivated me because Inner City came out of the Watts riots, and it's creating a space for African American artists. But he was bringing everybody in. Like he had Luis Valdez Teatro Campesino there. He had Aborigine women's theater from Australia. Like he brought everybody in, even though it was Afrocentric, but he brought everybody in too.
Yes. Okay.
And I noticed that in my barrio, and even still today, brother, we have like one theater in Boyle Heights, Casa 0101, where I do plays there. We have LATC, okay, that's downtown, that's 2. Compared to our population, we're 49% of the LA County population. We're only 5% represented in the media, in film. African Americans are 9% of LA County, and they're 9%. And then whites are 77%, represented.
Right.
So look around. I could drive for miles, bro. I came from Montebello. I drove here. I didn't see one theater. I didn't see one gallery. I didn't see one cultural cafe. I didn't see, there's nothing.
Very, very true.
So we need to build that,
I'm glad I'm glad you're bringing that up, and I always like to preach here that us as a Raza, we have a voice and we need to use it. obviously not in a damn negative way, but in a positive way where we unite and uplift each other. And, I always encourage other people to be, since we have a voice, we have technology, do your own podcast. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I always say, Facebook Live is free, Instagram Live is free, YouTube Live is free. The only thing not free is the internet. Get yourself internet. You can go live. We have a voice. Use it. We can come together, build something. Like today I was talking to a friend of mine, and first of all, I'm thankful for all the people that are subscribed and people that are watching now, because this year I want to do a lot of positive things starting here in my community. Whether it be Thanksgiving or Christmas, give away gifts, give away turkeys, do something. That's really what I want to do.
Yeah.
And you're a perfect example of that you said, you know what, this is our demographic, and yet we have no theaters, we have nothing.
Yeah. Where do the kids learn how to, if they want to sing, or they want to get into acting, or they want to build sets, or they want to create art? So they go on the streets, man. They go hit up the walls, right?
This one man told me this a long time ago, and at first, as a youngster, I didn't understand it. But here's what he said. He said, if we don't father our children, he said, the streets will.
Yeah.
That's what he said.
We got to take them under the wing.
Yeah.
Like the graffiti writers, I took them under the wing.
Yeah.
But the city, they didn't want to fund that. They rather fund like buffing out graffiti. City of LA spends $9.5 million to erase graffiti. But you know what the budget for youth art is, for urban art? 0. You know how much it costs to incarcerate one tagger for a year? $250,000. Imagine what you could do for that.
Wow.
One kid for a year. $9.5 million to erase graffiti.
Wow.
But to pick up on the story that I'm going to lead into how Radiotron came to be.
Yes.
I think that's an important. I'm giving the background of me.
Yes.
So to kind of show that by the time I got to Radiotron, I had already done a lot of things. I had already toured and dancing. I had already opened a theater, and then after I opened a theater in LA on Pico and Hoover, I went to New York. I just decided to go there because I heard if you make it in New York, you make it anywhere.
Yeah.
So I took a one-way ticket, $100 and a suitcase, and I didn't know anybody.
Wow.
So I lived there 3 years, and in that time, I ran a coffee house showcase, and I produced off Broadway play, and I also produced a performing arts theater group in New York.
Okay. Let me get this straight, okay? Because you just blew my mind right now. $100 and a suitcase, and you didn't know nobody.
No.
And you just said, I'm just gonna go.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Faith.
Yeah.
Having faith.
Yeah.
Because if you could make it there, you can make it anywhere.
Right.
So I took a one-way ticket to make sure I made it. That way I couldn't come back.
Right.
I had to make it.
Now let me ask you this. Growing up and living in LA, then living in New York for 3 years, what years were those again?
1980 to 83.
Okay, to 83.
Yeah.
Okay, because then you came back and that's what started Radiotron.
Well, I'm going to say it's important to share when I was in New York.
Yes.
And I saw breakdancing on Fifth Avenue, kids on cardboard, breakdancing for money in the streets. That's the first time I saw breaking.
Right.
When I left LA, kids were on the street corners doing robot. Some of them were dressed like Michael Jackson. They had the white gloves. They looked like kind of mimes. They were like mimes. You
Right.
know? And they were doing pop locking. Like we grew up with Soul Train. We watched that, pop locking on Soul
Right.
Train. And then the kids were doing roboting, And then I went to New York, 1980, and I saw breaking first time. I didn't see it in LA. I saw it in New York, like literally in the streets. And I said, wow,
yeah,
that's a new dance. That's a new dance. That's the latest. That's like the new thing,
Yeah.
And then 3 years later, the Olympics were going to come to LA. This was in 83, right?
Yeah.
So my sister called me, who was married to Trinidad Silva. Trinidad Silva was an actor that I met when I was here in LA. And one day I invited him over for Thanksgiving dinner because he was from Texas and he didn't have a family here.
Uh-huh.
So he made a love connection with my sister,
Okay.
And ended up getting married. So Trinidad is the guy that plays Froggy in Colors.
Colors.
Yeah. So there was another guy you were interviewing, I think it was Tony G.
Tony
who
G,
said,
yes.
I think the only guy that was in the gang was Froggy. No, he was not.
Okay.
He wasn't from a gang. He was like a worker in Texas, and they said, come to Hollywood and be an actor. So he did. He was in Hill Street Blues. He played a recurring role in Hill Street Blues.
Uh-huh.
He always because All Chicanos back in the 70s, that's all we had was gang parts. It wasn't like that's all you can play.
But you know what? Okay.
He was not a gang. He wasn't a gang member though. He wasn't a gang member. He was an actor.
Right.
From Texas.
But I could understand a white director. You'll make a great.
Everybody. I auditioned for Walking Proud. And when I read the script and they had Robbie Benson with brown contacts, no, Charlie. I said, Charlie with that,
Okay. I'm gonna say something, and you tell me if I'm wrong for seeing it this way, okay? Yeah. And I'll accept it. One question before we go to break is that today we have a lot of Chicanos, a lot of Raza. They're proud to be in movies, and I'm all for it.
Yeah.
I'm all for Raza winning.
Yeah.
I really, truly am.
Yeah.
But when they tell me, oh yeah, I play this cholo in prison, or I get killed by this cop, or I'm a dope dealer, and I feel that's all we're getting.
Yeah.
My thing is this, because many, many years ago, I was at a friend's house, and I won't mention his name. They were filming him for a documentary,
yeah.
And these people were from Germany. And this one guy looked at me, and he told me, "Man," he goes, "You know what? If you put tattoos on your eyes and maybe some right here," he said, "I have a great role for you for my prison movie." And I'm not gonna lie to you. I said, "Man, is that how you see me, man?"
Yeah.
I said, "Man, you know what? Fuck you and your movie."
Yeah.
And he didn't understand why I got upset.
Yeah.
Now my thing is this. I'm not going to knock nobody's hustle, and I really want to say that, but I think that we should reject a lot of these damn roles.
Okay, so see, there's a difference between the role and the story.
Okay.
See, you can play a cholo three-dimensional, and you could play him amazing. Richard Cabrales, he was nominated for an Emmy, I think.
Uh-huh.
Guy came out of Homeboy's Industry. He was in prison, but he's a great actor.
Right.
He transcends. He transcends because cholos are human beings, man. We're not a thing. We're not a. Cholos are human. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So they have families. They love their mother. They have children. They have lives. We're real people, man.
Right.
But if you're allowed by the director and the story to really capture the humanity of the person,
right,
who happens to be a cholo or in a gang, but first and foremost, he's a human being.
Right.
Let us play them with dignity and be real with it. I mean, bro, you're from the neighborhood. That's family too,
Yeah, of course.
They have kids, man, mother.
Yeah.
You talk about your mom, I talk about my mom,
Right.
I mean, come on, cholos have mothers, grandmothers, fathers, brothers, children.
Right.
We're human beings. When we're portrayed in a stereotype where we don't have a heart, we're psychopaths, we
That's
just kill and
about.
revenge. And it's always the same story. My life in the barrio, the revenge, puro revenge, bro. There's forgiveness too.
Right.
There's sorrow too. There's pain too. Cholos cry too, bro.
Right.
Cholos cry too, man.
Absolutely.
They don't just have the tattooed teardrop. They actually do. We're human beings. Give us some dignity with that. But it's up to us to write our stories. And that's what I'm doing now.
Yes.
Dedicating myself to that.
Right.
So Cholo's one character, but we're doctors, lawyers, we're many things.
Right.
But just before the break, just to kind of set it up,
Yes.
that I got a call from my sister in Trinity that they were opening a performing arts academy in LA and they needed a director. So I agreed to come back. And they rented an office on 7th and Parkview. And then that's where Radiotron
Okay. Great.
grew from that.
Awesome.
So
Awesome.
when you come back, then
Yes.
I'll pick up the story there.
Awesome. So we'll be back in about 10 minutes, everybody. Make sure you call somebody, text somebody, slap the shit out of somebody. Let them know that Carmelo Alvarez is in the motherfucking building. We'll be back with Radiotron. 10 minutes. Don't fuck around.
Yeah, that's a cliff.
Call somebody, text somebody, slap the shit out of somebody. Let them know that Roadium Radio is live up in this biatch. Lonzo, you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
You sure?
Motherfucker, I'm ready, goddamn!
Like it ain't shit, cause I'm a player motherfucker named DJ Quick.
It's a full-time jack move. Chili chill, yo, homie, make the crack move. Style, me, mama, keep the big chicken. Sweat dripping, girl, it's a little when you chill.
Walked in the house, got shot.
1, 2, 3. Motherfucker, don't down. Shit. Granddaddy.
Kick your ass!
Cut. We're good.
A Roadium mixtape to me was something that was made just for the Roadium. You wouldn't hear it anywhere else. And they would do raps on those tapes that were nowhere else. You know what I'm saying? And they were truly the first mixtapes that we ever heard, you know? And they would shout the Roadium out, and you could kind of tell it was like someone's garage, maybe. The little echo, you know what I mean? It wasn't completely perfect and polished yet, but that was the beauty of it, that it was so raw that we could feel that shit. And I would just play them shits and draw. That was my inspiration, my motivation to draw. So I always had to have some type of music, you know? If it wasn't the Dynamic Superiors or the Temprees or some funk playing, it was, you know, second to none. It was quick. It was the Penthouse Players, you know, High C. And Tony G was at that time was like a god too. You know what I'm saying? He was out there DJing Latin freestyle parties, and all the girls had their hairspray like a lion and shit, and hickeys on their neck, and man, pushing strollers, and we'd be like, ooh, look at, you know, these parties at La Casa and shit, you know what I'm saying, in downtown, and mini trucks and beds were folded in the air like transformers and shit in the boulevard, coming up and changing and flipping, and subwoofers beating before the person even hit the corner. You get goosebumps, like, damn, and Elko would bend the corner on Dayton's, and you were like, ooh, that fool's strapped right there. That fool gotta be strapped. Motherfucker had candy ribbons, little Willie ribbons from Compton on the side of his shit. Jerry curl dripping all over his shit. Bent over to the side, bumping that fucking Roadium shit. And he had a tape that only came from right there. And if you didn't know about that place or you didn't live in that area, you didn't have that shit. So that's kind of one up that the harbor area had on a lot of other people. Compton was next door, but that harbor area was ended in Gardena. You know what I'm saying? So, man, those were great times, man.
A Roadium mixtape is like a kilo of cocaine. It's like a kilo of amigo powder. You get that shit, you cut that motherfucker open, and you put it in your motherfucking CD player, and you start listening, and you be like, that's dope, shit, this is dope. How you do that? But really, a Roadium mixtape, bro, if you haven't experienced it and you was in hip hop back then, I don't know what the hell you was doing. You done fucked up. A Roadium mixtape is like, it's a kilo of cocaine. Music wise, I'm saying, motherfucker.
Man, that's a little tough, but I'll tell you what, it was the best thing ever for me, man. It was just kind of like something you never heard about. And especially West Coast was not getting that shine at the time, you know? So you would go to this place and they would make a custom tape, like, you know? And not knowing what it was just the sound that came out of those tapes that, if I'm correct, you'd have to, like, I would be feeling for those things if it was monthly, if not sometimes bi-monthly, but a tape, it was just a mixture of the latest songs all mixed together. But the intro had like this crazy mix that I at the time I believed that it was like 4 turntables at the same time, but I was like, how the hell are they doing this? Like, was it Superman behind the turntables or something like that? But a mixtape was a real mixtape. It was actually a cassette too, you know, just for the record.
Get it, Dre.
Testing 1 2 1 2. Right about now, Easy E and Dr. Dre's in the motherfucking house.
Times are getting crazy, it's really hard to choose it. The Roadium's a spot to get funky, fresh music. Easy motherfucking E and my homeboy Dr. Dre. MC Ren is in effect, and you know we don't play. The Roadium is hitting, but you know you can't leave until you get a deaf ass tape from Steve. Oh Steve, oh Steve, oh Steve, just give me just one more tape. Oh Steve, oh Steve, oh Steve, just give me just one more tape. Oh Steve, oh Steve, oh Steve, just give me just one more tape. Oh Steve, oh Steve, oh Steve, just give me just one more tape.
Yeah, man, I came all the way down to the Roadium swap meet, man, to pick up one of them N.W.A tapes, man. And I talked to homeboy Steve down there, man, and he said I'm fresh out of tapes, man. How the fuck you fresh out of tapes, man? He said cause they selling like hotcakes and shit, man.
That's my man throwing down.
Hey mom, what's for dinner?
And we heard about this young kid from the Harbor area named Tony A. And he was a DJ, you know what I'm saying? He was going in with the big stars, you know what I'm saying? And he was like one of us going in and infiltrating inside of all these MCs, you know what I'm saying?
A Roadium mixtape is just mixed of different types of music, no matter what genre it is. And like I said, it's like making your own musical movie.
When La Raza came out, man, I just, even the amount of sales of the single of La Raza that got moved out of the Roadium was crazy, bro. And that song just got played and was played in all the stands over there. And I was blessed to go back one time even to see it, and I want to say in 91 or 92.
Although they were not black, they were Oriental, Asian, whatever you want to call them, they were cool. And they embraced everybody, blacks, Latinos, whoever came to the swap meet to want to buy music, they were record people.
Ice Cube getting dumb at the Roadium with the funky drum, and you know my man Steve can get some. With a fool like Tony A when he plays stupid dope shit by N.W.A. You wanna spray? Dumb motherfuckers, no doubt. And sucker DJ, get the fuck out. Tony A.
What did you say your name was? What did you say your name?
Tony A. I have won 1 million battles.
Lights, cameras, action, sound. Give me that mic, I'm about to go down.
Thinking of a master plan.
This story's funny. I met this girl and she had money.
Yo, call somebody, text somebody, slap the shit out of somebody. Let them know that Roadium Radio is live up in this biatch. Welcome back, everybody, to Roadium Radio episode 132. And we're not going to bullshit, but we're going to go ahead and jump right back into it with Carmelo Alvarez. Sir, I'm glad you're here. Everything you're sharing, it's amazing. I'm learning a lot, not only what you have told me in the past about Radiotron, but also about your history. But I just had one question, and I think some of our fans would like to know, because you were in New York when pretty much breaking all took off, you know. early 80s. You went there from 80 to 83. Now, you being Mexican, how were Mexicans looked at in New York? Did they know what a Mexican was in New York?
Not really. They didn't. Well, not only didn't they know what Mexican, they especially didn't know what a Mexican American was. They assume if you're Mexican, you cross the border. So they didn't know our history, that we were here when this was Mexico.
Yes.
Like my great grandfather from El Paso, we have documentation. I have papers that my aunt had shared with me that he had land here when it was Mexico. And when they signed the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo, they gave him a choice, like you could go to Mexico or you could stay here. But he stayed here because he had land here.
Yeah.
So he had to sign some papers like denouncing Mexico and pledging to the United States. So he was here before this was the United States. Our roots go deep to indigenous, Tarahumara, Apache, whatever native, and also Mexican, where, you know, they crossed the border, but it was like a rio, you know, they didn't need to show anything. It was,
right.
They could have, my grandfather had land on, my great grandfather had land on both sides. He had some in Juarez and some El Paso. Juarez, El Paso, you know? It's a walk back and forth.
Right,
you know?
right.
But then they put the line there, La Línea, right?
Right.
So now he had a little land over there. He had more over here. He's almost over here. And that's our history, right? Okay. So they didn't know that. People here don't know that. Right. In LA, we're the majority and they don't know that.
Right.
So in New York and the 80s, there wasn't like a lot of, like couldn't find not even one Mexican restaurant. There was a Spanish restaurant. They confused that, oh, there's a restaurant over there. And I go there. No, Spain, you know?
Right.
They have like, what do they call it? Bull balls or something. I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Bull balls, yeah.
Bull balls.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I know.
We don't have that. I'm saying that's not Spanish. We're not Spanish, you know?
Right.
So they didn't know that. They would confuse me for Italian,
okay, or
Puerto Rican, you know. A lot of them are Italian, maybe the way I talk, the way I express myself.
Right.
A lot of people think I'm like Joe Pesci, you know. I remember the guy that wrote Breaking.
Right.
David Zito. Mm-hmm. One time he took me to pick up some stuff he had in storage, you know, at a guy's house. And I got there, you know, and then the guy that had the house, he saw me and he tells David Zito, "Oh my God, I can't believe you brought this guy, you know, amazing. And can I take a picture?" And I'm taking pictures with the guy and everything. And then David Zito goes, "Hey, Carmelo, come on, let's go now." And the guy goes, "Carmelo? I thought that was Joe Pesci." That's so embarrassed.
Oh, you shouldn't have said that. The live chat's going to go crazy thinking you're Joe Pesci. So.
Well, they think I'm Canelo.
Well, Canelo también. Yeah,
well, Canelo took my spot, man, because before when you Google Carmelo Alvarez, I would come out, pop out, you know, all the work I've done in the last 40 years, right? But once Canelo came up, boom, he bumped me out, man.
Yeah.
He's top.
Well, at least we got all the same last name,
But he's good,
right?
man. I mean, I back up Canelo, you know.
Canelo.
He's a great fighter.
Absolutely.
Great fighter.
Now, you come back from New York. What made you come back?
So I got a call from my sister in Trinidad.
Right.
You know, and they're opening up Performing Arts Academy, and they're looking for a director to run that. So they knew me from running centers and, you know, projects. So I thought to myself, this would be a good time to come back home.
Okay.
Because also the Olympics are coming to LA.
Yes.
And I'm kind of homesick. So I came back. They had rented an office from Jack Huntsberger on the corner of 7th and Parkview across from MacArthur Park. And I actually moved in there. And I would go to the YMCA at the Park Plaza, which was the Nairobi room. Remember the Nairobi room?
Yeah.
So Park Plaza, and downstairs they had a YMCA. So I would go and shower there and get steam and then come have my briefcase, but I had my clothes in the briefcase. I come to work, you know, to the office, right?
Right.
And I would work there. And one day I'm looking out the window and I see this beautiful Chicana getting off the bus in front of the park, and I'm following her to the window. I go, nice, you know. So I go, I'm just kicking in my office and knock on the door. I open the door, and it's her with the big smile. "Hi, an agency sent me here to work with you." And that's the mom of my 3 kids.
Wow.
She showed up.
Wow.
Yeah. So then, so I'm there, and then one day, Jack Huntsberger, the owner, calls me in the office, and he goes, "Hey, I have a building for you. I have a little building in the back. would be perfect for your center, you know? I go, okay. And then I go, I need paperwork. So he made a rental agreement and he gave me the keys. And he goes, oh, one thing though, every Friday from like 11 to 5, there's this club there. I think it's called Radio or something. He goes, just tell them they gotta go. They gotta, that's it. It's
From 11 to 5?
Yeah, from 11. It was an after hours. From 11 at night to 5 in the morning.
5 in the morning.
That was Radio Club.
Okay.
So I'm on a date with Cynthia, you know. And when 11 o'clock came, I go, hey, Cynthia, I got to go check out this club, that building that Jack gave me.
Right.
So she goes, okay, I'll wait for you here. So I walked over there, and I heard three things. First thing I heard, I took one step on the steps, and somebody yelled out, fucking Mexican, and a bottle crashed. Like they threw a bottle at me, like a 40 ounce, and it crashed on my feet. I heard that. And then I heard, Madonna. And somebody goes, what's Madonna doing here? And I heard this, slumming. So, fucking Mexican, Madonna, and slumming. Those are the words I heard. So I thought to myself, there's something going on here and they don't want me here.
Right.
Like they never talked to me. They never bothered to say, hey, you're the new guy. You know, we have this thing going. Or just fucking Mexican. Okay. Yeah, I'm not going to be discouraged for everything I've been through in New York.
Right,
Grew up in the hood. You know, everything I've been through my whole life.
Right.
Prepare me for that moment. From the little kids, get away from that Mexican, trigger. When you think if everybody says fucking Mexican, I'm going to stop and...
Right.
No, bro. Everything in my life happened, prepare me for that moment. So I go inside. First thing I see is Ice-T's rapping on stage. The gloves, you know, spinning. And Ice-T's calling, like, it's like a call and response, you know? And he's like calling the moves, like, we got Chick City in the house, head spin. You know, he's calling the action as the breakers are dancing.
Right.
And I go, this is the new movement here. Bebop, the beatniks, the hippie movement. This is the new social cultural movement.
Right.
And that's what I saw. I saw people of all ages, all backgrounds. I saw Ice-T rapping on stage.
Right.
So I went back to the owner and I told the owner, I go, you know what? It's a good thing. Let's keep them. He goes, okay, well, just keep charging them whatever they're paying and you pay me that'll be your rent. So I went and met with the guys. The Ice-T and them, they were DJ, they were like rappers and DJs. They were the artists.
Right.
But I met with the promoters, like these two white guys. So I met with the owner. It's just me and the owner. Okay, I have a building for you. I don't know anything about no radio or nothing.
Right.
And then I told the owner, let's let him be here. You know, it's good. So I went and met with the promoter. I go, hey, I like what you guys are doing. You guys can keep staying here. And you know what the guy told me? Fuck you, you don't know who we are. Oh, okay. Wow, like that, huh?
Wow.
And then, so I'm there by myself. The building's all painted black. So the guy that had it, another white guy that had it, and the owner moved him to the front building. He was renting to punk rock groups. It was like an underground venue.
Right.
Okay, and radio was one of the clubs that rented. You
Right.
know? And so I'm there in the building, and I get a knock on the door, and there's these big tall black guys come in there. They're, hey, you fucking Mexican, get the fuck out of here, you know, trying to bully me. But as I told you my background, what was my first experience of dancing and entertainment?
Right. No. Yeah.
Black.
Yeah.
Black musicals, and they loved me, they embraced me, they showed me, they changed my life, bro. I can't hate on that. That's their problem. You call me a Mexican, why are you calling me fucking Mexican?
Right.
You got a problem. You don't know me.
Right.
Why don't you sit down and talk to me and find out who I am? If you sat down and talked to me, you'd find out that I have a lot of love for black culture.
Yes, absolutely.
See, you don't come over here and start yelling at me. And plus, I'm from that neighborhood. Since 59, now that's my neighborhood, you know?
Right.
So I'm coming from that neighborhood, and I'm like, you know what? Get the fuck out of here.
Right.
Straight up like that. See, I can be street, code switch,
Yeah.
street or corporate. Boom. corporate switch, you know. To Jack, the owner, yes sir, Mr. Huntsberger. Street guys, they come up, they don't come correct. I'm gonna snap, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how we're raised, right? You're not gonna get punked. So then they leave, and I'm there by myself. I got like $5 in my pocket. I'm thinking, how many flyers can I make for $5? You know, get another knock. I open it. This guy, hey, I'm from Canon Films. Who the hell has this place? So I had the manila folder, you know, with the lease paperwork, and here it is. Okay, Mr. Alvarez, we're trying to make a movie here, Breaking. And I go, okay, well, how much, you know? And then they told me, oh, we'll pay you so much, you know. We want it for a week. And I go, okay, fine, I signed. So now the next thing is, here comes the graffiti writers, right? And the building had a payphone.
Yeah.
So that's what I used. I didn't have money to get a phone. You know, I used the payphone in the lobby.
Yeah.
So I'm there, you know. Craze and Graph One are painting Radio Club. So here comes the Radio Club promoter guy, right? A Russian guy. And he's like, "Ugh, they gotta pay me for that." Ugh." So he runs away, you know, goes to the producers, get a call, ring. Can I talk to a graffiti artist? I go, yeah. Hey guys, they want you on the phone. Graffiti writers come on the phone. Mm-hmm. Hang up. They go and buff out Club, and they put Tron. But they put Radio with the O as a heart, and then Tron, the O as a heart. So Craze and Graph One. Craze, Puerto Rican, New York.
Right.
Graph, South LA. Graffiti writers. They're like 15 and 16-year-old. They paint that. And that's how the name Radiotron came to be. First source, I was there, bro.
Right.
I just watched it. And if you look closely, if you ever see Radiotron and you look closely, you can notice it's a little gray around where they buffed. You could, you know.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
You could still notice a little gray around it. And that's how that name came to be.
Uh-huh.
So then they came and filmed. So now here comes Ice-T, here comes Boogaloo Shredder, here comes the whole cast. So they're all filming the dance scenes and everything, right? So at the end, the crew came with buckets of gray paint. They were gonna buff everything. I'm like, no, hold it. Just leave it like that. I don't need it. I don't need that. Because now it's nice, you know?
Yeah.
It's like hooked up, man.
So you just said just keep it.
Of course, bro. It was all dark and scary. Now it's all, just keep it, you know? So now I'm there by myself again. Another knock. I open the door. This little kid, Gizmo, from the Hungry Breakers. Hey, mister, can we break in there? I go, yeah, sure. Hey, the man said we could break. Dice el don, you know. Hey, the next thing, boom, they all roll. Because the kids were outside when they were filming. Uh-huh. The Hungry Breakers evolved into Air Force Crew. They were kids that would dance in front of El Piojito or MacArthur Park for money. The Hungry Breakers.
Right.
They were all 11, 12, 13, bunch of little kids, right? So I let them in there. But I didn't have any music. I had no sound system. I had no money. I had like $5,
right?
You know? And the money from the movie,
yeah,
I had got a lawyer to make my nonprofit Youth Break Center. She absconded with the money.
Really?
Yeah. She absconded with the money. Okay? So I'm there like no money, right?
Wow.
So I let the kids in. So here comes a Native American guy that the kids call Psycho. Because he was a little bit slow, you know, but very big heart.
Right.
And he's all in camouflage and he has a big boombox, right? Hey, mister, you need a security guard? And I'm looking at his boombox. I go, well, if you let me borrow your boombox, you could be the security guard. He goes, okay. Puts the boombox on the stage. So now I got my boombox, got my breakers, and I got my security guard, Psycho.
And that's how it came together.
That's how it came together. And then my mom came, you know, to help. My wife used to work the office, like get everybody to sign like parental permission slips and, you know, watch the door. It was like 50 cents to get in the summer, 50 cents all day. Where can you find that? You know,
right.
50 cents all day, you know?
That's amazing.
So that's how, that was the posse, the crew. Yeah. And as far as anybody else, they never came back. A year later, after it built up, Animation came. Animation showed up one day.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, rest in peace, Animation. He showed up. He was 17 years old. And he wanted to come and he wanted to stay there. I go, okay, I got to talk to your mom. So I went and met his mom. She gave permission for him to stay there. I gave him a room, and he used to stay there, animation, you know?
Wow.
And
now, animation was, a lot of people say it this way, he was famous for being at Venice Beach a lot.
okay, so animation's gift was being funny and very talented dancer. Amazing, creative, and rapper. He made his own raps, his own beats. I mean, he made special effects like animation, you know, and then he wore masks. Like, I just found some old rare footage from VHS of him with the Ronald Reagan mask that I have as a CD, in fact, too. Maybe we could, you know, copy it or something. But very talented, very funny. So when I was in New York, I saw comedians making money in Washington Square. And I told him, hey, dude, man, people make money, you know, on the street. You're funny, man. You can make money. So I took him down to Venice Beach, and he set up his thing, and he made a living for, like, till the end, man. He was known for that. But he started, you know, when I met him, he had actually won the Coca-Cola dance contest, and he was coming off of that, right? His dream was to be in the movie, because all these kids came after Breaking One.
Right.
So then a year later, after the Olympics, we went to the Olympics. They released the movie Breaking, then Beach Street. So we would actually go to the theaters where they were showing the movie Breaking and pass out flyers. And people would leave the theater, the movie theater,
to go
and go there and be like, wow, this is just like the movie. Wow. It was weird, you know?
Yeah.
And then the Olympics came, and the cops, they knew they would bring kids there, like runaways. They wanted everybody off the streets. You know, during the Olympics, they were giving even suits to homeless people.
Right.
So they didn't mess with me, you know. So then the kids went and danced in front of the Coliseum, but the LA Breakers, they were in the closing ceremony of the Olympics.
Yes.
But the Radiotron kids animation, he was in front of the Coliseum dancing, you know. We got like a little sponsor on the side, you know. Okay. And then the owner says, hey, you know what, I'm gonna sell the property, and I go, well, can I have the building? And he goes, yeah, if you can move it, you could have the building. It just hit me in the head, you know, because you can move a building.
Okay.
It's possible.
Yeah.
Right? This is the way I think.
Right.
You know? And the owner goes, yeah, if you can move it, you could have the building. So now I organize the kids, you know. Hey, we're marching to City Hall, you know, to ask the city to give us land so that we can move the building there.
Right.
Because at that time, kids were leaving gangs to join breakdance crews and graffiti art crews. In fact, the graffiti art crew that came out of there was like K2S. They were like guys from like 4 or 5 different gangs, and they formed a crew, right? K2S. And so kids, the city's talking about, especially like in the 80s, with the crack and the Uzis and Batarams and all this.
The gang violence are all-time high.
But now the kids are leaving gangs to join battle breakdancing, graffiti crews, DJ crews. Don't you think that's a great solution that the kids invented?
Yes.
The city turned their back. In fact, the Surgeon General declared breakdancing hazardous to your health. Wow. And I'm like, why don't you declare gangbanging hazardous to your health? So the news came and they interviewed the kids, you know, oh, have you had injuries? And the kids are like, well, I got a bald spot from head spinning, but now we use beanies and a knee pad. They invented a little cap. They actually invented a little cap, you know.
Right.
And then that's one blow right there, like, right? Breakdancing hazards. So nobody wants to sponsor it. They ban hip hop from all city buildings. Okay. Wow. Another blow. Then here's the third one. The city banned teen clubs. Okay. They passed an ordinance. No more teen clubs. That's why you don't have teen clubs in LA. Before they used to have underage teen clubs. Right. You don't see that anymore because the city passed a law against it. So now here comes the news again, interviewing the kids. Hey, how do you feel about, you know, the city bans teen clubs? And the kids are like, well, we don't know where to go. Like, what, you know? Right. So look at the response from the city when the kids are dancing, making music, and creating art. Right. I gave the graffiti writers a room upstairs called the tag room, where it was a room about this size, and they could tag anything they wanted, but no crossing out and no gang.
Right.
So I would catch a kid tagging. What are you doing? Oh, I'm sorry, mister. I go, all you have to do is ask me. Can I tag that? I go, yeah, go ahead. But just don't cross out and no gang.
Yeah.
And I used to get art supplies from H.G. Daniels, like sample markers. I bought them airbrushes. I would go to the corporations and get recycled paper, like reams of paper so they could use the other side and just practice and practice and practice.
Wow.
You know?
Wow.
And that's what the tagging part, you know?
I want to share a story with you of me going to Radiotron.
Cool.
I know you told me that you had it from 83 to 85.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I went in 85, and I want to give a shout out to my good friend Angel Montes, who has the biggest restaurant here in the city of Wilmington. He told me, you know, because what a lot of people may know, may not know, that Boogaloo Shrimp, who's Turbo in the movie Breaking, and Coco, who was in Breaking 2, are from my neighborhood. Okay?
Yeah.
And so he said, you know what, they were in the movie, let's go check it out, where's Radiotron.
Yeah.
We went during the day. So we got to see kids practicing, hanging out, breaking, okay? Then I got to see this one guy spinning on his head, and the dude wouldn't fucking stop. And I'm like, amazing. Like, first time what they call now power moves, okay? Yeah. But just spinning on his head, and then he bends his leg backwards, and he takes off his shoes.
Oh, yeah.
And he's spinning around with his shoes like this, and he just wouldn't fucking stop. So when he stopped, I just went up to him, and I said, hey, man, what's your name? And he said, my name is Orko.
Yeah, Orko.
And he was doing all of these crazy moves, and he was telling me he was getting ready to go to New York, and I was like, fuck. In my opinion, during that time, because I've seen a lot of breakers during that time, in my opinion, I thought he was the best breaker I had ever seen.
Yeah.
Mexican kid.
No.
Okay. No, he wasn't?
Nope.
Okay.
The Air Force crew, Salvadorian.
Orko was Salvadorian? Wow.
Orko and Little Caesar, they came from Salvador fleeing the war.
Wow.
But see, you never hear about that.
Yeah.
All you hear about is MS and that, you know?
Right.
But you don't hear about the Salvadorian kids that assimilated into hip hop. Right. They became amazing. Plus, see, this is where the shortness helped them because they were closer to the ground. You know, they were like the gymnasts, like gymnastics, right?
Yes.
So they have that, and they came and they had that self-determination, that the ganas.
Yes.
And they excelled, and they ended up dancing for the Queen of England. So imagine from Salvador fleeing war, seeing death, to traveling 36 countries, dancing in a palace for the Queen of England, from there to there.
That's amazing.
So there's a lot of stories like that. Like Prime, let me finish the Prime one. Because one time I'm driving down the street down Venice, and I see this kid busting like a Scooby-Doo, like on the side, like on Venice, a Scooby-Doo, like a 12-year-old skinny kid. And I go, oh shoot, I backed it up, and he's packing all his spray cans in his backpack, right? And then he's running down the alley, and I'm driving next to him. I go, I like your work. And he goes, what? I go, I like your work. And he stopped. He goes, I thought you were the cops. I go, no. I have a center. There's a lot of kids like you over there. They do graffiti. So that was Prime, you know? Yeah. And then Prime started going there every day. That's where he met, you know, Crime and Deffer and Duke and the K2S formed there, and STN and K2S and MAK and all the crews, you know? And now Prime he's done work for like the Getty. He's in museums, he's in galleries. Same thing with Deffer. I mean, a lot of these guys started there.
Right.
And then they just kept doing it, and they become world renowned. No, you know?
Just to finish up my story really quick about Orko, because I saw him in 85, and then I didn't talk to him again till like 97, 98. Somebody was telling me, oh, yeah, you know, there's a guy that used to be a dope-ass breakdancer. He married my sister. And I just happened to say, the only dope guy that I've ever seen in my life was Orko. And he goes, oh, that's him.
Yeah, Orko.
And I couldn't believe it. I was like, no way. And he goes, I go, dude, is he right there? He goes, so I talked to him. And I go, look, dude, I know you don't remember me, but I know you told me. And he remembered the story. He goes, I remember I went to New York. And I go, but be honest with me. How was it going over there to New York and battling those guys from New York, knowing that breaking started there?
Yeah.
And he's just straight told me they couldn't hang with me. My opinion, I believe he was telling the truth, but then he said they categorized me saying I didn't have no footwork, I didn't have no rock, all you had was power moves. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, whatever. Yeah. But to me, I just thought he was the fucking most amazing. So if you're seeing this Orko, much love, much respect to you.
Another one is Ozrock.
Ozrock, yes.
So Ozrock showed up there, and he's also trained them in a lot of breaking moves.
Uh-huh.
So he was a big influence to the kids there in Radiotron. Mm-hmm. So Animation did the popping. Oracle, Ozrock taught the breaking. And then we had the guys teaching DJing, Antron, a bunch of other guys teaching, DJing. So we had DJ. We had like two DJs sets, and the kids had headphones, and they'd line up, and they'd be like, they would take turns, So at Radiotron, you could go DJing for 15, 20 minutes. Then you could jump on popping.
Yeah.
And you could go upstairs and do a little graffiti.
Yeah.
There was no set time. I didn't have it I didn't want to structure it like, okay, now we're gonna do an hour of breaking, because kids get that all day.
Right.
Kids get that in school. They wake up, they have to be there at 8, and then the bell rings, and they're like all programmed. So where can kids go to just relax and have a creative space where, it's safe?
Yeah.
There's no drugs there, no drinking. It's just practicing music, dance, art. You have a guy like me there, a Chicano guy. You have my mother, the grandma. You have my wife there,
Right.
So this is the atmosphere. This is the vibe. Parents felt comfortable leaving their kids there.
Right.
And there's another kid that came out of there was a Will Dog. He was a little white kid. The mother took him there, said, go in there and survive. Well, that's Will Dog who formed the group Osomatli. With Cut Chemist and Charlie Tuna.
Okay.
So Will Dog came out of there when he was like 10 years old. The mother would drop him off there, So this was an incubator. I saw it as an incubator. I didn't see it as like, Mike, I'm concerned with being hip and doing, and trying to be in the entertainment. I'm more like community minded and developing their talents, their skills, and their character, So when the owner said, well, if you can move the building, you could have it, we marched to City Hall. The city turned their back on the kids. But Canon Films saw the news because we were all on the news, right?
Right.
And then they showed up and they're like, hey, we saw you on the news. What happened? So I told them the story that the owner gave us the building and we marched to City Hall and tried to save it. But the city, they weren't interested because of, after they banned hip hop in all city facilities, the Surgeon General declares breakdancing hazardous to your health. After all that, the city's like, no, no. So then they said, well, we're going to make Breaking 2. Can we use, because I left the original, They didn't have to hire a guy anymore and pay it,
Right.
I go, well, okay, but why don't you hire some of the kids? So they go, okay. So we made a deal where they were going to use that, and then they were going to hire some of the kids. So I told the kids, hey, they're going to hire you guys for Breaking 2. Go get your work permits, guys. Go get your, if you need a Social Security or, get your paperwork. you know where to get it.
Right.
Across the street, get anything. Buy anything.
Pretty much.
Get the paperwork,
Even a driver's license.
I tell the guys, the miqueros, like the micas,
Sí.
I go, man, you guys do more than Obama. What do you mean? You guys provide more green cards. You guys provide more green cards than Obama, So then they were like, nah. They were like, nah, we got this. Okay, fine. So the day came when they were filming in Casa Mexicana outside because it's a beautiful building. So they hired Zodiac to paint it all graffiti, outside scene, And I drove them there,
Here's what I want to do. I'm going to press pause right there because we're going to take a 10-minute break.
Yeah.
But when I come back, I want you to share where they got the story from to make Breaking 2.
Yeah.
Okay. I think it's very, very important that this is documented and that you share your story because Breaking 1 was a success. Obviously, that they wanted to make a Breaking 2.
Yes.
And I also want to know how it was or when you met Boogaloo Shrimp. Coco and those guys.
Yeah, sure.
So we'll come back, everybody. Cool. So we're going to go ahead and take a 10-minute break. So go ahead and warm up your food. Go just have a modelo. Come right back and join me and Carmelo Alvarez in this awesome Radiotron historic interview. So 10 minutes, we'll be back. Call somebody, text somebody, slap the shit out of somebody. Let them know that Roadium Radio is live up in this biatch. Call somebody, text somebody, slap the shit out of somebody. Let them know that Roadium Radio is live up in this biatch.
This is your deal on Roadium Radio. The panties are popping, and it's non-stopping. Tony A the Wizard. This is your deal on Roadium Radio. Grab a seat on my meat with Tony A the Wizard.
Just do 1 2 1 2. Right about now, Eazy-E and Dr. Dre's in the motherfucking house.
Times are getting crazy, it's really hard to choose it. The Roadium's a spot to get funky, fresh music. Easy motherfucking E and my homeboy Dr. Dre. MC Ren is in effect, and you know we don't play. The Roadium is hitting, but you know you can't leave until you get a deaf ass tape from Steve. Oh Steve, oh Steve, oh Steve, just give me just one more tape. Oh Steve, oh Steve, oh Steve, just give me just one more tape. Oh Steve, oh Steve, oh Steve, just give me just one more tape. Oh Steve, oh Steve, oh Steve, just give me just one more tape.
Yeah, man, I came all the way down to the Roadium spot meet, man, to pick up one of them N.W.A tapes, man. And I talked to homeboy Steve down there, man, and he said I'm fresh out of tapes, man. How the fuck you fresh out of tapes, man? He said cause they selling like hotcakes and shit, man. That's my man going down. Hey, Mom, what's for dinner?
Man, like the N.W.A. and Eazy-E music hit the Roadium Swap Meet mixtapes first. Like when we dropped our records, man, it was cool putting your records out, but even though people knew who Dre was and I was and Cube and Yella before, they didn't really know who Eazy was. But not until, Boys in the Hood and some of that, Fat Girl and LA is the Place, that stuff hit the mixtapes, man. That's what kind of put it out there for people to know, like, what is this Eazy-E? What is this N.W.A. thing? So I think it was like a big, big push. The Roadium Swap Meet mixtapes had a huge impact on hip-hop and the hip-hop culture because it was different. And, wasn't nobody doing it like that. You had New York, they was doing mixtapes, but, you had N.W.A. who was saying whatever the fuck they wanted to say. Motherfuckers wasn't doing that shit, speaking how they wanted to speak, and what that did was open up a lane for what they call gangster rap today and the hip-hop culture. And it really opened up lanes for pretty much for the West Coast gangster shit to get out. And nobody else was doing that, and it was just different. And people were scared to say what they wanted to say. And that buzz came from Steve at the Roadium Swap Meet, working with Dre and Eazy and created a whole plethora of good music and created a lot of lanes and opened up a lot of lanes for artists like myself to be able to come out. I'm part of the tree. I'm a branch on the tree that Dre and Eazy started, and then on my branch you got Snoop, the Dog Pound, 50 Cent, Eminem, and all of those guys. That's all on my branch, the Chronic. And that's what it created, man.
Yo, right about now, Dr. Dre is in effect. Cold tearing shit up with my man Steve at the Roadium swap meet. And we here to lay it on the line. To all them sucker niggas out there claiming our tapes and shit, we just got one thing to say.
Never get you bored, your ass is mine. Never get you bored, your ass is mine. Never get you bored, your ass is mine. Yeah! Now my name's Dr. Dre. 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 Went to a party in West LA. Wanna learn a new dance, that's what you say. Well, here's a new dance that can't be matched. So just step to the floor and do the cabbage. Here it come, here it come, here it kitty come, come. Here it come, here it come, here it kitty come, come.
Wow. The instrumentation of, or the importance of the Roadium swap meet and the mixtapes in the careers of Eazy-E and N.W.A. and Dre and Yella and a lot of other folks too, even Battle Cat, you know, was very, very high because, again, they needed an outlet, particularly when people weren't really checking for them and that sound that they were trying to create elsewhere. At the Roadium, you had at least a way to sort of mass market your stuff and have people listen to it and give it an opportunity and give it a chance. And because Steve believed in and already had a relationship with Dre and Yella, he was more open to allow them to do that. And they were doing mixtapes for him too. Dre was doing them, Yella was doing them. So you could squeeze in, or they could squeeze in or sneak in some of that N.W.A. stuff. So when people bought the mixtapes and they heard the songs in there, yo, what's that song? It's dope, I wanna hear that again. So it was a way to really market N.W.A. and market the material that they had that wasn't getting, you know, let's say the radio play or getting the distribution that it needed at that time.
You know, Steve is definitely a part of the beginning. He was there, gave everybody a voice, and that was in the beginning. It gave everybody inspiration to want to do more. Like you, made you want to do more. Like me, made me want to do more. Like Q, everybody, Ren. It goes down. The list is so long on how the Roadium swap meet inspired people to be able to put music out because people couldn't put music out there. You know what I'm saying? So if you get your little song and you put it on the Roadium swap meet, it'll be all over LA. You know what I'm saying? You didn't have to press up no records back in there. But you did, but if you got them to Steve, they would be on the mixtape because he would put them on the mixtape. And I remember he was bringing the big crate and Steve, you know, you get the crate and put them diamond style. And he would pick them up, give them to Dre, 4-track. They had the 4-track right there. And Steve would just sit there the whole day. They sit there the whole day. So I just remember that. I mean, you know, a lot of stuff happened back then. You know, we went our separate ways, you know, but at some point, you know, I still always remember. It's like your first grade teacher, you know her name.
Welcome back, everybody, to Roadium Radio episode 132. And we're not going to bullshit, so we're going to go ahead and pop the tequila and pull out some modelos and have a great time with Carmelo Alvarez. Not to be confused with Canelo Alvarez. So we're going to go ahead and take a little shot right here. Salud. I'm going to sip on mine. Yeah. Salud, brother.
Salud, brother.
To a long and prosperous life.
Gracias.
Pick up where you left off, Carmelo.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to bring it back to something.
Okay. So the deal was they're going to film the interior shots at Radiotron at the Youth Break Center, and they're going to hire some of the kids.
Okay.
So when the day of filming came, I dropped off the kids over there at the Casa de la Mexicana in East LA.
Right.
Because they were doing the exterior shots.
Okay.
And
this is for Breaking 2.
For Breaking 2.
Okay.
So I had told the kids, hey, you need to get your work permits, you know? And they're like, nah, we got it, you know?
Right.
It's like, okay, all right. I dropped them off. I came back to the Radiotron, and you know how I mentioned that we had the payphone was in the lobby?
Yes.
That was our phone. That was our admin. That was everything, you know?
Right.
So I went there. I go, okay, I'm going to wait for their call. About 5-10 minutes later, ring. I pick up the phone, and there's quiet. And I go, you guys want me to pick you up, huh? And I heard a little voice, yeah. Okay, I'll be there. So I went and picked them up because they said that after they had their costumes and makeup, that the assistant director came around and asking for permits. And they didn't have it.
Wow.
Some of them got sent home. Animation got in.
Right.
So he's in there with a mask, you know. I think Little Caesar, a couple of them got in, you know.
Yeah.
But most of them, they didn't, you know. And so then the movie came out, right? And I go see it. Little did I know that it was the story of Radiotron of trying to save a center. They never mentioned that they were using that story. But the thing that hurts me, honestly, is that the character of the director of the center, of the youth center, they use an African-American older actor and a white mime. Why couldn't they use a Chicano actor or Mexican guy?
Right.
But they had to use an African-American, not the actor's fault,
Right.
and a white mime to be the center directors.
Right.
And then in the movie, they saved the building, and the building was called Miracles, right?
Right.
Well, when people ask me, well, how did you get the building? Because, you know, no money, no support from the government.
Right.
It's a miracle. It's a miracle. Because when I get a building, I always say a prayer. I say, God, if you want me to have that building, you're going to give me the keys because you know what I'm going to do with them.
Yes.
And you know what I'm going to do with the keys? What are keys for?
To open.
Open doors. And that's what I do. I open doors. Then Radiotron's one of 12 buildings that I've had that I've opened. That's the most famous one, but I've opened others. In Tijuana, I converted a narco tunnel house into an art center, Casa de Túnel in Tijuana.
Wow.
And I opened Espacio Tijuana, a hip hop center. In fact, some of the Radiotron kids went over there to Tijuana and battled Tijuana, you know?
Wow.
Then I got a 3-story building called Peace and Justice Center. I opened the Eagle Rock Art Center. I've opened many, many other buildings. And that's my purpose in life, is to open doors. My goal is to have nothing. My goal in life is to have nothing but peace of mind. I don't need material things. So I'm working on some film projects, and I plan to, use the money, first of all, to help my kids to realize whatever business or dreams they have.
Yes.
Because they've paid a big price of me working with the community and not giving a lot of time to my own kids. They're the unsung heroes, bro, our families. Our moms, our wives, our partners, our children. While we're doing our thing, sometimes they pay the price too, because we're making sacrifices. Like, I got to pay the rent for the center, and maybe I can't buy them things, or I can't take them to Disneyland because I got to pay the rent.
Right.
We're struggling,
Right.
So my goal is to, first and foremost, take care of my children, and then to go to, I have a list of the 10 more poorest countries right now, because I'm a part of Generation Hip Hop Global. We have 67 chapters around the world. And they send me a list of the 10 most poorest countries, like Haiti and Brazil and Mexico and, Uganda and all these other places.
Right.
So I'm going there, and I'm taking them whatever, like if they need a dance floor, we'll build it there. If they need DJ equipment, if they need a center, give them seed money to build the center for them. And that's what I'm going to do.
You mentioned that about Breaking Two, and I want you just to elaborate a little bit more, because what do you think? I mean, they got the story for the movie. Was it that interview that you did with the news?
Yeah, because they saw it on the news.
Okay, can you share what you said on the news and how they used it for the movie? Okay.
Well, what was in the news was that the building was being shut down because the owner sold it to developers.
Right.
So if you look at Electric Boogaloo, they're fighting against the developers. And they even have the bulldozers there and the kids dancing for the bulldozers.
Right.
But in the real Radiotron, the wrecking ball came. I was there when it went down.
Fuck.
Like wrecking ball hit the roof, poosh, and then I went inside, because they were knocking the building down, and I saw just the rays from the sun hitting Radiotron, and it was like the blends, the colors, because it was kind of dark in there.
Right.
But when the wrecking ball hit the roof, just rays of light hit it inside, and that was the end. The wrecking balls hit it,
Right.
But in the movie they saved it.
Right.
The kids saved it. They gathered money and saved it. But in reality, no. In reality, they shut it down. The kids went in the street. A lot of kids, we lost them because since they were leaving gangs to join breakdance crews and battling and dancing, not in fight, street shootings and drive-bys and that, a lot of the kids just went back on the street. So we actually, sad to say, we lost a lot of kids. Little Tough, from the Dominoes, he was a regular at Radiotron. Just such a beautiful, wonderful kid. It's so sad, man. I feel like even like I get emotional, sad, and that's one of others that they're no longer with us. Is they went back into the street life,
Yeah.
So we can solve this, The city spends so much money on incarcerating the youth, on buffing out graffiti, on making laws against youth culture, and we could turn this around. It's not too late. We can still do it. This is the thing I'm going to advocate till the end of my life.
Right.
This is what I do. I'm a youth advocate, and I use culture as a tool to empower the youth. It's a healing. It's a sacred, creating space. See, that's the other element. Like the fifth element was knowledge. Hip hop.
Right.
Well, there's another element that's not talked about, which is space. Like Kool Herc, he started in a space, in a community room.
Right.
Like in the Bronx.
For the people that I'm sorry for interjecting.
No, it's okay.
For the people that may not know what we're talking about first of all, the 4 elements of hip hop, which is MCing, DJing, B-boying, which is breaking and popping, and graffiti. Okay, the 4 elements. People have added knowledge, and you're saying space, a place where people can come.
Well, what, if you don't have that, if Kool Herc didn't have that community room,
right?
There
wouldn't be no hip hop.
They wouldn't have been it. And then also it was youth, because he was doing it for his sister. I think she was 15, 16.
Yeah.
Maybe like sweet 16 party,
Yeah.
So teenagers, youth. Because I was in New York, in the 80s, and the clubs, they were very exclusive. Like Club 54, you had to wait in line, and you had to dress a certain way.
Yeah.
Where the kids don't have no money. They're not gonna. Plus, they're not even 21.
Right.
So we need spaces for kids to socialize and be creative. That's essential. And I really believe, because it turned my life around.
Yeah.
When I was 15, I was doing travieso, running around.
Right.
But I went to Barnesdale Junior Art Center. I met Chester, turned me on to tap, changed my life, bro. You know what I got? I got this.
Yeah.
Wow, you're really good. I am? Oh, wow. Nobody told me that.
And that was your pay.
That was it. So I'm giving that back to the kids,
That's awesome.
This is what I do, bro.
That's a beautiful thing.
My purpose in life,
Now, let me ask you this. When Breaking 2 came out, I know in Breaking 1 they paid you. Mm-hmm. Breaking 2, did you get anything?
Yes. Okay, so now we're going to get into Breaking 2.
Okay.
Because in Breaking 1, the lawyer absconded with the money because he goes, they have to write me the check because you don't have a bank account. Mm-hmm. So when I went over there to buy food, I need money. Gone, bro. But in Breaking 2, so in Breaking 2, they paid me.
Okay.
And by then, I had my son. So my wife, she lived with her mother, and then she came one day and goes, hey, my mom said either hook up with you or we can't keep living there,
Right.
So I went and rented an apartment. So I used the money to rent an apartment. And that's where KDAY and Tony T and Macatech Mixmasters.
Yeah.
Tony, it all worked out, bro. It's just divine intervention.
Right.
Because when I worked every day open 6 days a week for the kids, in the summer all day from 11 to 7 at night, and then on Friday and Saturday nights. So you know what I did on Sunday? Sleep. You can't have a family.
Right.
You work all week, sleep all day. So I was like, Tony said, hey, man, let me do some shows over here. I said, handle it, bro. Because I need to spend time with my family. You could be up there all night Saturday.
Right.
And I won't be with my family. We're going to wake up on Sunday. We're going to go to church.
Right.
We're going to go to the park. We're going to go eat.
Right.
And then by then, my daughter was coming. So now I have 2.
Right,
my son and my daughter,
Now just to elaborate a little bit more on when you said Tony, was talking about Tony G, KD Mixmaster.
Yeah.
comes in, and that's what I wanted to ask you, because I went there during the day. I want to say, again, it was 85. I believe it was the last year.
Yeah.
And then you guys started having night dances on the weekends.
Well, we always had shows, because see, the kids that would come in, like Little Caesar and all them, Oracle. So their thing was like they didn't pay, but they practice all day, right?
Right.
So their pay was on the weekend, do shows, battle.
Okay.
That's your pay, that was the
Right.
attraction, right? Since I couldn't get any grants, no donations, nobody wanted to be on the board. I only had one board member, Lindsay Haley. She was a poet from Venice Beach. That was it. She was the only one that agreed to be on the board, because nobody wanted to be on the board. Like,
right.
You have graffiti, banned by the city, outlawed, right? You have breakdancing, the Surgeon General, you can't have that. The city ordinance, you can't have. Who's going to be on your board of directors? But you think you're going to get support from the government for that? No. I get cursed out by the politicians. They corner me like, what the hell are you doing? You're advocating vandalism. I go, no, I give them permission. Okay, not vandalism, you give them permission.
Right.
I let them paint the building, but I had to see their stuff first, Of
course.
But I let them paint inside, outside, top to bottom, whatever,
So this was just, Radiotron was just something totally different that people saw as like, it's too new, it's too different. Kids are getting hurt, this is vandalism, and they kind of saw it hazardous, if you will.
But in reality, they're leaving gangs, they're leaving drugs.
It was positive.
They're working out, they're all together, black, brown, white, Asian, Filipino, all no color barriers there.
It brought everybody together.
Yeah. We even had a Yvonne. She was like the first beat girl, breakdance girl.
Wow.
We had the Bazaar girls. They were like a regular, party crew.
Yeah.
And then Tony came at a very good time, because we'd go to K-Day to promote, the events. And there was a guy named Rory. He was like the community relations guy.
Yeah.
Because it was Greg Mack used to be the disc jockey for K-Day,
Yes.
but they had their community liaison, which was Rory.
Right.
So he'd always be there, referring kids there. And then Tony G came in and he goes, "Hey, let me run the weekends." I said, "Bro, that'd be great."
Yeah.
And he was an amazing DJ, like, bro, he's the,
Yes.
nobody could be like, couldn't beat him,
Yeah. And that's when the second time I went, I walked in, and I need to share this because I walked in and I heard a song called The Show by Dougie Fresh and Slick Rick. And I heard it. As a matter of fact, for those of you that may not know that song, it had the Inspector Gadget part in it.
Yeah.
Right. And I walked in, I saw him, and I saw a Latino, cutting it up. And I'm like, what the fuck? Because during that time, as growing up as a DJ, for me, all the DJs were black. All the DJs were black, at least from what I've seen. So seeing a Latino out there would just blew me the hell away.
Oh, Jelly Bean Benitez.
Yeah, pero ese era from
Puerto Rico. Yeah, Puerto Rican, yeah.
Yeah, from New York.
So Tony G took over.
Yes.
That was like first it was like the Radio Club, and then the Radiotron Youth Center, and then it was Tony G, KDAY, Mixmasters, Radiotron. It was like another version.
Right.
Another,
Like the remix of the club.
Yeah, the remix of the club. But see, he was drawing a different crowd.
Yes.
He was drawing the more professional hip hop scene.
Right.
Whereas me, I was drawing little kids from the neighborhood.
Right.
That's what I do, bro. I'm not trying to be that.
Of course.
I'm doing what I'm doing, and I'm happy. I'm blessed to know my purpose in life, and I feel fulfillment in that. Yeah, I don't inspire to be, to blow up and have a house in Beverly Hills and drive a Ferrari. I aspire to give money to people to open youth centers, and I'll probably upgrade my RV. That's about it.
Right.
But that's not my purpose. So I'm okay. Like if you know what your purpose in life is and you're doing it, you're happy.
Right.
You're like, success is being happy.
Right.
So it's not how much money you have, is are you happy? And I'm happy, bro. I found happiness.
Likewise.
And I found happiness because I chose happiness. And people are like, yeah, but what if something bad happens? I go, well, I might feel bad, but I'm not my feelings. My feelings is something that I have, but it's not who I am.
Right.
I went from being the guy that swung out.
Right. Struck out, yeah.
They didn't pick. You could have them. The guy with no number.
Right.
To being a loving, caring, creative, funny, and sometimes smart, because I'm still working on that. Knowledge. I'm working on the fifth element. I'm working on the fifth element,
Right.
But I encourage people listening to create space.
Yes.
And also to form a movement. If you get like 10 homies to put up $200 a month, go rent you a spot, man.
Yes.
But make sure it has parking and check out the zoning to make sure you can get permits.
Yeah.
Because when it blows up, you don't want to get shut down, and sustain it. And then from those homies, 5 break off and they open another spot. So now you got 2. And then from that spot, those break off and each one has 1. So now you got a whole community creating culture, like venues for the youth, for culture, for music, for dance, for art, for cultura. La cultura cura, you know?
Sí.
That is our medicine. From the traditional, from the beginning. It's our medicine, bro. It's the best of our people.
Absolutely.
Let's highlight the best of a people. That's culture.
Yes.
Is the best of a people, the morals, the values, the tradition. That which you're going to pass on to your children and your children's children.
Awesome.
And that's why when I say I'm an advocate for youth and culture, because youth are the light and the hope of the world. And culture is the best of the people. That which you're going to pass down to your children and children's children. And this is my purpose.
That's beautiful.
And that's why I'm here with you. And I'll say salud to...
Hell yeah. I got to pour myself some more.
Salud to la cultura.
To la cultura.
Yeah. Y los jóvenes.
Los jóvenes. Unity amongst Raza. So.
Salud, brother. So yeah, so that's how it happened. And I saw the film, and I'm like, they never gave me the credit. It's okay. I wasn't doing it for the credit. So I don't hate on that.
Right.
But I'll tell you this. Movie Breaking.
Yes.
It cost $2 million to make.
Yeah.
And it made, like, after, DVD, sales and all that, up to 50 million. After Breaking came out,
right.
I think the first year it made like 38 million, right?
Wow.
And only cost 2 million. So that 36 million to play with. Now, if the Radiotron is closing and the owner's selling the land and he's giving us the building, don't you think they could have put at least $1 million? Like at least 10% of whatever the movie grossed, like, and buy some land and donate and write it off? But instead of doing that, they went and made a Breaking 2 and took the story, but no credit story by. And they didn't even put a Chicano as the director. Yeah. They should have put a Chicano as the director, because our people, they don't see anybody that looks like them in those positions of directors and authority. Yeah. Now, I give mad respect to my colleagues. Ben Codwell, Project Blowed. I've given him the Youth Advocacy Award at Radiotron. B. Hall of The Good Life. Yeah. I've given her an award. We gave Shabadoo an award, a Lifetime Achievement Award.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace with the Universal Hip Hop Museum. Yeah. And we gave him an award. I gave Boogaloo Shrimp an award for the same thing,
That weenie.
I give them awards, and I give like some graffiti writers, awards too, like the Golden Spray Can Award.
Right.
So I always acknowledge the artists, the advocates, but I feel that the people that hold space, that we need to acknowledge that, and we need to build that, because that's the incubator where you can grow the culture.
Yes.
Where are they going to do it, bro? Where are they going to do it? Back alleys or abandoned houses or something? No, bro. Yeah. It's got to be safe space, clean space, nurturing spaces. Kids can comfortable. Your grandkids want to go, yeah, let them go. It's fine. It's good. And then now with the Olympics, so I saw.
Let's talk a little bit about that, because a lot of people may not know that now they incorporated breakdancing in the Olympics. Yeah. How did you first hear about that?
Well, I've been hearing about it for years. Like, we've been advocating because, like, for example, do you know who the top breakdancers, like the world-renowned breakdancers are?
Not right now. No, I don't.
Like the Koreans.
Really?
Koreans in the world global competitions, Koreans are high. But you know why? Because the Korean government, they do create spaces for them. Have you ever been to Koreatown?
No. Oh, no, not Korea, but Koreatown, see.
And how is it there?
I mean,
it's nice, right?
Yeah.
You see kids, like teenagers, walking around the street, nice clothes, happy, laughing. But as you go east and you cross Hoover, see, you get to Lafayette Park and MacArthur Park and Alvarado. What happens?
Oh, Bumville.
It changes.
Yeah.
Why can't our people have that?
I know.
Why can't Boyle Heights? Why can't Wilmington, Boyle Heights? You know,
South
Southgate and Linwood. Why can't? They can.
Yeah.
But like when I say why can't they? There's no reason. There's no esque. You know esque? No esque. No, es que cuesta dinero. No es que. I tell them, you know what? Delete the esques.
Porque no se puede.
No, delete esques. So you can make a list of.
I'm gonna have to use that one. I like that.
Yeah, you can make a list of 100 reasons why you can't do it.
And you know what? I'm glad you're saying that, because most people, when I talked about podcasting, you shouldn't do it because of this, you shouldn't do it because of that, you shouldn't do it because, and I even said, okay, you give me 5 reasons why I can't. Tell me one reason how I can. And he didn't know.
You know what? You know what reason? No reason. So you have to be unreasonable. You have to delete those reasons. Delete them. Like delete.
Yes.
And there's no reason why we can't do that. Yeah. There's no reason. And nobody's stopping us.
Right.
There's nobody stopping us.
You know, let me encourage the people watching right now is that when I started this podcast, a lot of people told me, don't go live. Nobody's going to tune in. You're going to be begging people for subscribers. Nobody's going to watch. Nobody cares. Just put it up on Spotify. Let them listen to it. They could pause, listen to it whenever they want. And I said, no. I did over 60 interviews in early 2019 to promote the documentary that I directed. Or maybe only 2 or 3 were live. And they only had maybe 6 people watching. One guy had 9. I think one had like 16. I went back maybe like 2 months later. One of them had like 120 views. They were all trying to discourage me. Do not go live. Nobody's gonna tune in. Okay. Every time we go live, we average 1,000 people. Every single time. The night we went live, 2019 September 11th, we had 238 subscribers, and we had about 40 people on the live chat. And let me tell you something. 1 year later, exactly 1 year later to date, we had 27,000 subscribers. On a slow night, we have at least 1,000 viewers. Honestly, the biggest crowd we've ever had live was 10,000 people.
Well, I put it on Generation Hip Hop Global. We have 67 countries representing.
Yes.
And even though they might not, they're because of the time differences. But you know what? I put right there. Catch it on catch it on YouTube. You know, like later. You know.
Yes.
So there'll be other people coming. So it's a global movement, brother.
So. I say that to say this to encourage people. When somebody tells you can't do it because of this, you can't do it because of this, or porque este.
Es que.
Yeah, es que. You know. Exactly.
No,
you know what? Ask those same people, okay, you told me 6 different reasons how I can't make it work. Give me one how I can.
Yeah.
And they won't have that solution. You just got to do it.
What comes out of here?
Yes.
It becomes an action. So I'm going to be making a movie, and I'm also working on a series. A hip-hop series. Okay?
Awesome.
I can't talk about it.
Awesome.
That's all I'm saying.
Yes.
And the money, I'm going to take care of my kids. You know, break them off first and foremost because they're the unsung heroes.
Yes.
And then I'm going to be giving some seeds to barrios and then the poorest countries. Seeds so they could plant. So when I die, I don't want I want to have nothing. And I want to be planted. I told my family, I go, mulch me, man. mulch me, and put a tree. If I could even do it in MacArthur Park, I talked to the director. I go, hey, if I die, can they mulch me here and put a tree there? Hopefully I won't. He goes, hopefully I won't be here.
He goes, no, es que.
No, he goes, hopefully I won't be here by then.
Well, hey, that would be a beautiful thing, man.
Because I started with the tree. I started with the treehouse. I started building a treehouse, and the kids came to play with me. And in that treehouse, you could be anything you wanted to be. And this is what I've done. 12 centers are 12 treehouses, and kids can be whatever they imagine. Like they can create possibilities. That's the realm where we have to play. That's the realm of possibilities. Yeah. And that's it, bro. That's it. Especially right now, there's You know what the increase of COVID and Raza is? 1,000%. Wow, 1,000%.
Really?
1,000% increase in Raza. That's crazy.
Wow.
We're number 1 in jail. We're number 1 in all the negatives, right? But that's then, and we have to create now the possibility and use this time to create. This is the time for us to go in
Yes.
and create the possibilities. Like me, I'm focusing on writing. Like I'm writing.
Yes.
Like I told my son, it was his birthday like 2 days ago, and he's very creative, and I told him, I go, mijo, all you need is a piece of paper and a pencil with an eraser. Not a pen, because you can't erase.
Right.
But all you need is a piece of paper and a pencil with an eraser. A number 2 preferably, because you can write a screenplay, you can draw, you can design fashion, you could do anything with that. That's all you need. That's it. A piece of paper and a pencil. That's your tool right there. And that's all. That's I'm working towards that.
Right.
I don't need anything.
You know what, Carmelo, let me ask you a question. Probably, I don't know if anybody's ever asked you this, but I'm going to ask you. I'm not going to ask you how old do you look, how old do you feel inside?
Well, I have to keep reminding myself that I'm old. Yeah, I do. I have to keep reminding myself, hey, you're old. I feel life, I feel fulfilled, I feel happy. I feel that I can still do a lot of things. I'm okay. Like I'm,
right.
I went to the doctor, and the doctor goes, you have an incurable disease. And I go, what's that? He goes, aging. But other than that, it's all good.
Right.
Everything works. He goes, but you gotta use it, because if you don't use it, you lose it.
Right.
So I gotta use it. So that means exercise, eat well,
yes,
sleep. If you get negative thoughts, replace them. Like, there's gonna be a percentage of people that don't like me. Like they might see my picture and they automatically don't like me, because maybe I remind them of an uncle that beat them up or something, right? So I used to focus too much on the negative comment or that one person that didn't like me. And I went to therapy, and I don't mind saying it, because my last job, I was a gang interventionist for the mayor's office here of LA. And I dealt with a lot of death. Those 2 girls that got shot in Debs Park,
yeah,
they were our clients. And I remember I took flowers to the mothers.
Right.
And I was in the funerals. And I had secondary trauma, which is compassion fatigue, where I'm like a sponge. I absorb like all the pain and suffering of our people.
Yeah.
So I went to the therapy that I was referring the kids to. So USC has a free. You could Google that. USC therapy is free. You get 12 sessions, and I took that, and they gave me a good tool. They flipped it around, because I was only focusing on the negative. But how about all those kids that appreciate me, that love me, that kids were writing me letters saying, hey, Carmelo, if I don't see you, I just want to say thank you because you believed in me. And I'd be focusing on like, I let him down. And they go, no, bro. If 2-3 people talk shit about you, because they're full of shit.
They're most likely full of shit.
Yeah.
And they're watching.
But that's okay, because maybe they had some trauma in their life, and that's how they express themselves. Doesn't mean they're not paying attention.
Maybe they need a hug.
Well, if in this interview, like I can touch one person out there to transform their life, then that's it, man. That's why I'm here. That's the por qué. Por qué estoy aquí? Why am I here? I'm fulfilling my purpose in life.
Yeah.
And and I encourage people, like, therapy is a good thing. Like, don't try to be like, ay no, que está loco. We gotta erase that, bro. It's out there, man. Seek help.
Right.
Seek help, man. It's out there for you. Go seek that help.
Yeah.
Talk to somebody. Use these ducats, man. I was telling you, before the show, we're talking about crying, that when you're a guy, like in the familia, like especially I grew up with my father Mexicano, right?
Right.
And you cry, ay, chirón, pareces vieja, So you're like trying to hold it in, like man up, all tough, But
Right.
then later, with the pisto, and then you're doing other shit, and you're all weekdays, you're all chillón right there, all pedo, all chillón, Like, no, bro, it's okay, man. Let it roll. God gave us tear ducats, man. God gave men and women these little tear ducts, right? Tear ducts.
Yes.
So that when we feel emotion, it's a valve that releases. And once we understand it, We don't have to be all chill, like, but we can just let it roll, man. Like I cry out of happiness, I cry out of sadness, and I just let them roll, man. It's very
joy.
It's so healing. You have joy, man. It's so healing. It's so refreshing. It's like it's a tool that it's built in us.
No, it is. It is.
And we weren't meant to cry, but we wouldn't have these.
We just don't like to admit it.
Well, it's time to evolve.
Yes.
You know, and the other thing is like one time I was in a healing circle with women invited me to this healing circle, and they gave me some cacao. You know, like the Aztecas, they would drink cacao. You know, as a healing ceremony.
I don't know what that is, but
it's like chocolate. What they make chocolate from.
Oh no shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're drinking the chocolate. You know, we're in a healing ceremony, and I closed my eyes. You know, and I had a vision of myself as a sperm. As a sperm, you know, as a seed, right?
Really?
Yeah, and I'm like a little sperm going in like that, you know, and then other ones are fizzling out. They're like, some of them give up, you know, they like fizzle out, right? But I'm like, Ama, you know, like not even knowing what that is, but just the will to live, right? So what I discovered was my divinity. What I discovered that all of us alive today were divine beings. And you see children, they're divine beings. But society begins to put things on them like, no hagas esto, y no hagas esto, y que, you know, all that, like we said, like, pareces vieja, and don't cry, you know, no te dejes, and we start putting all this crap, and we forget that we're divine beings. So people say, yeah, but what about the people that are born with some kind of a handicap? I go, well, they're even more strong, because in spite of that, they still will to be.
Yes.
And those are angels. I walked into a room with one of my clients, a sister, she was in 24-hour care. She was born with a lot of defects, you know, and she was in the bed like that, you know, 24-hour care. And I walked into the room and I saw an angel. So pure, like no maldad, there's no evil, no harm, hurts nobody, like the essence of divinity and innocence right there in your presence. I was so honored and I cried because I was like, wow. See, we start seeing people in that way. You start seeing the divinity in each person.
Yes.
We're all alive for a reason. We're all alive for a purpose. So our mission in life is to fulfill our purpose.
Absolutely.
So why was this person taken then at that time? They fulfilled their mission. So me, I have a mission. So unless I get run over, you know, I'm gonna strive for fulfilling my mission. The beautiful thing is knowing what your mission is.
Yes.
So how you find it is you gotta assess your gifts. Like obviously, I'm not gonna be a Carmelo Anthony, you know.
Right.
Like I'm not, you know, but I am a guy that opens spaces for youth. I'm a youth advocate and I'm a cultural advocate. So what I did was when you align your gifts with your purpose, that's the key that opens doors to possibilities. That's where the magic starts happening. I got Radiotron by divine intervention. I didn't take it from anybody. It was given to me. The keys were given to me for me to open doors for the youth. And that's what I did. And I'll continue to open other doors, even if the doors are here. These are the doors that, this is the center. Here's our center, right? Yeah. This is our center, you know?
Right.
So we have to open these doors in here and in here.
And you know what? You opening up that center, the whole world now knows Radiotron, and I have the man right across from me.
Well, I'm the vehicle, you know. I'm the conduit. I'm the conduit. It's like the extension cord that you plug into the wall.
Yes.
But I'm not the electricity, you know.
Right.
The source is the electricity.
Of course.
You know, and that's the creator.
Right.
The creator. Because I say, God, if you want me to have that building, you're going to give me the keys.
And he blessed you with that.
Yes. So whoever wants to argue about it, go ahead. But you can't argue with destiny.
Absolutely.
Can't argue with destiny,
That's
bro.
beautiful. I like the way you put that. Wow. Shit.
Salud.
Salud. Hold on. I got to pour myself another one. Fuck, that was beautiful, man.
I'm still on the first one. Salud, my brother.
No, you got to hurry up and down that one, man, because they're not paying you enough to babysit that one.
Okay. Yeah, I look forward to this day. When I see you, I see your show, and I'm like, you know, you're doing the tequila shots. And I'm like, one day I'll be there with Tony doing tequila shots.
And you know what?
And the day came.
Yes, and you don't even have to be on Roadium Radio after this. You could just come and we'll just chill. But I want you to answer me this. I'm going to answer me first. And I always like to ask people this question: if you would have never have seen yourself, try to imagine that. If you would have never have seen yourself in a mirror, in a water reflection or whatever, how old would you feel? I always say that every year I'm 28, 29 years old. That's the way I feel. When I go to the gym, I can outwork out my son.
Yeah.
You know. So, with that being said, I still feel very young mind. I still have a very young heart.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, when you work with youth, right? You work like me. I work with youth. So, one thing I've missed, like during this COVID time, is the interaction with the young people. I do miss that because I get energy from them.
Yeah, that's a
I
beautiful
do get
thing.
energy from them.
Yes.
The last project I did in MacArthur Park, we made 5 mini documentaries. And that was the last project before the COVID.
Right.
So after Radiotron, we did 5 little documentaries. So I got a call from the Levitt, and they want me to do an hour show on Radiotron.
Yes.
And then before COVID, I was working with Generation Hip Hop Global, and we're gonna take Radiotron to like different countries, you know.
Right.
Then COVID hit. There is a Radiotron in Argentina, and there was one in Lebanon, in Portugal.
Wow.
Because they'll see it, because now with internet, you know.
Yeah.
They'll see it, and then they'll text me like, hey, you know, we want to start a center. Can we call it Radiotron? I'm like, yeah. I mean, I don't. A lot of people want to claim things. They want to own things. Like I've never claimed that I own it. Like, you know how I got to use the name Radiotron? Is that I incorporated Youth Break Center Incorporated, nonprofit organization.
Right.
But the kids didn't like that. They were like, no, we want Radiotron. I go, no, it's not. I don't own that name. That's from the movie. I don't own that name. But we don't care. We're still going to call it Radiotron. Right. So I go, okay. So I wrote a letter to Canon Films, and I asked permission. Can I use the name Radiotron? The kids want to use Radiotron. So Canon Films wrote me a letter, and they said, we give you permission to use Radiotron for the benefit of community youth. And that's why I use it.
Awesome.
You know, I have mad respect for Radio Club and Radio Club crew and Ice-T and the Glove and everybody that came out of that. I always give them respect.
Yes.
And I always give them credit in every interview, in every documentary and everything. I give respect because it's due to them.
Right.
Because they started that. And I started a youth center. And I didn't want to call it Radio Rio.
Right.
But the kids did, so I asked permission. And it was granted to me. So it's hopefully we cleared things up.
Yeah.
You know,
but you didn't answer my question. How old do you feel?
You know, I'll tell you this, I don't feel old.
Give me a number.
I like to say like, no, bro, I don't have a number, bro. I can't give you a number, man. I'm not gonna put myself in that.
Okay, I'm gonna give you a number, okay? Say once again that we just hung out, we were both blind, you know, whatever. I would say this guy's gotta be 30 years old.
No.
I'm dead serious.
No.
I'm dead serious. You a youngster, man. You a youngster.
I'm a youngster in spiritual, yes. Yes, I am, because it's so vast. You know?
I mean, talking, just vibing off of you, you know, the energy that I get from you, you know, the chemistry is like, this guy's a youngster right here. This guy's a youngster. I mean, the sad thing is we're getting old, but...
You know how I started youth work?
A ver, dime.
Hanging off the freeway overpass on Wilton and Sunset Boulevard. I was hanging off because I had just gone to the audition, you know, for like the Walking Proud and all this stereotype.
Right.
And, like, there's not much work for a Chicano tap dancer, you know? So I was like, God, you know, you give me this talent, but I can't eat from it, you know?
Right.
So I'm hanging off the freeway, you know? I'm hanging off the freeway like I'm about to jump, right?
Really?
Yeah.
Like,
and then I see my mother, you know, she always lights una vela.
Sí.
I always say, Mom, why do you light the vela? She goes, no, para que te proteja Dios, you know? So I'm hanging off the freeway, and then I see my mother's vela. It worked.
Right.
When your mother lights a vela,
yes,
it works, bro. I see the vela, you know? And then I go, God, what do you want me to do? And God put in my heart, use your talents to serve the youth. And I didn't even like kids. I don't want to work with them. But see, when you ask God, you have to listen.
Yes.
And God's gonna put it in your heart. So if you don't want that, don't ask. Like don't see, like you ask God, what do you want me to do? And God's gonna put it in your heart. But see, God's also gonna give you the gift
to equip you.
Exactly. So I said, how can I do that if I can't even save myself?
Right.
And then God said, well, don't ask me.
Right.
Well, why are you asking me then?
Right.
If you don't believe me, why are you asking me? I go, you're right, God. So I got off the freeway and I walked to the Red Shield Youth Center,
right,
which was where I used to hang out with the homies in front, you know?
Right.
And I went and knocked on the door. It was Salvation Army Youth Center, right? And knock on the door. And they opened the door and I go, I'm here to work. And they go, we don't have a job? I go, no, I didn't say I want a job. I'm here to work, donate my time. Well, what do you do? So I show my resume. I go, look, I can do dance, theater, you know. And they go, we're opening a performing arts center. We have a new building and we're looking for a supervisor. And I go, I'll tell you what, let me work 1 week. You don't have to pay me. And if you like my work, hire me. A week later, I'm performing arts supervisor for the Red Shield Youth Center on Pico and 11th Street. And you know what the play I was doing? Oliver Twist, the one they told me I should have applied for that. I should have applied for that, you know?
Wow. You know, a lot of times people have like ambition. People like feel like, you know what, I feel led to do this. I always like to say this, that God put that in your heart to do it. It's a God-given drive. It's a God-given passion to go ahead and do it. God had blessed you to bless the youth. He equipped you to bless the youth.
Yeah.
And with me, I like to say that God blessed me with multiple talents, and which I'm not going to get into, but I believe that God had blessed me. But I will say this, Carmelo, is that I truly believe that I have been blessed to be a blessing.
Yes.
And in so many reasons, in so many ways, the way you explain yourself, like, I don't care if I die with nothing, you know, I'm content with what I have. You know, I don't strive to be rich. I really don't.
Yeah.
If I can bless others, if I can open doors for others, and I've always preached this on Roadium Radio, if I can bless others, if I can help someone surpass whatever I have accomplished, that's fine. All I ask from that one individual is do the same for the next man.
Yeah.
Just open the door for the next man. That's all. Don't shut the door behind you. Yeah. Because we've had others that have come in before and they shut the door because they wanted all the shine, they wanted all the glory, they wanted all the fucking money. I'm not like that. I'm not. When we die, we're not going to take nothing with us.
Yeah, exactly.
So while we're here, let's bless others.
Yeah.
So that's all I want to do. So
no, I've seen your show, and that's why I'm here, because I see you're about uplifting la gente.
Sí.
And you're creating a space.
Yes.
I mean, there's times when I watch your show where I might even be feeling like a certain kind of way, and then somebody talks and they inspire me. They're like, oh, okay, I needed that reminder.
Yes.
You know, I needed to hear that. I needed to hear that, you know. And it puts things in perspective, you know.
Yes.
So you created a platform and you're growing. What I see is us collaborating on a film.
That's
I see you working on sound, you know, I see you creating.
Yes.
The Alvarez production. Let's create that. Let's create that, you know.
Let's do it.
I mean, I see it, you know, I see it. That's one of the things I was interested in, because I'm like, and this brother knows music.
You know, it's funny that you said Alvarez production. I'm going to tell you why. My father I was 1 year old, and my father was one of the first guys that I ever knew that ever had a freaking camcorder back when I was 1, okay? And you know how we started off our first film, and I have it on DVD, because he had it on, you know, reel to reel, I guess, you know, on the projector. We had that transferred to VHS, and eventually had that transferred to DVD. And here's how we started every film when it pertained to our family. Alvarez production.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Nice. There it is.
There it is. Yeah.
See, he wrote that. It's already, he created that.
Yes.
See, he manifested.
Yes.
Created that.
Yes.
But when I saw you and I saw, okay, this guy knows how to mix. He knows about music. He's like,
yes.
It's authentic. See, you're authentic. You're authentic. You're the real deal, you know?
Thank you.
And that matters.
Yes.
If you're creating a sound of an era, you want to get the real people, you know,
right,
to create that sound, you know.
One thing that I want to tell you, that if we ever work together, please make me write things down, because I have a photographic memory that I remember everything from the beginning to the end to the middle, and I'll be like, let's just film this. I know, but did you write it down? No, just follow me. And I drove my team crazy when I filmed my first documentary.
Yeah.
But Tone, we need to put this down on paper. Just follow me. And we can work like that, pero
No, yeah.
I have a photographic memory. And
Well, you know, I've been writing. You know, like I sent you a little bit of a trailer
Yes, yes.
of the last play that I did, Filos Tres. And
please, let's talk about that.
yeah. So Filos Tres, when I didn't get a number, when I got a blank jersey, you know, and I jumped on the bus on North Broadway bus, going to downtown, you know,
Yes.
to do the jale. And I saw people outside, you know, this was 1971, they were Filos Tres. I didn't know what that was, so I'm like, what's that? Who's Filos Tres? Why don't we know about that?
Right.
We know about the walkouts, we know about the Chicano moratorium, but what's Filos Tres?
Right.
So I had my mother's primo named Mangas Colorado. He was one of the East LA 13, like the 13 that went to trial for the walkouts, right?
Oh, okay.
So he was part of that, Mangas, right? So he passed away like 3 years ago, and I went to pay respects to the familia.
Yes.
So I was there, and there was a primo there, and everybody said, hey, you should talk to Miguel, you know, he's into theater, you know?
Yeah.
And I go, hey, Miguel, you into theater? He goes, yeah. I go, well, I do plays at Casa 0101.
Right.
And in fact, he had seen some of my plays, but he didn't know me, you know.
Right.
I was an actor in some of the plays. I told him, hey, I always wanted to do a play about Los Tres, you know, Los Tres. And he goes,
Yes.
I know them. I know those guys. There's 2 of them are still alive.
No shit.
So he introduced me to them, right? And they gave me the permission to do their story. So there were 3 Chicanos. In 1971, they got arrested because they were pushing the heroin out of the barrio, you know, out of the projects.
Okay.
And so this biker guy was a federal agent, was posing as a drug dealer. So he wanted to buy some heroin, some chiva, you know, from those guys.
Yeah.
But they didn't have any. They were chasing the dealers out of the barrio.
Yeah, yeah.
So they set him up. It was like a double sting, you know, like they were setting up this biker they thought was a drug dealer, but the biker was a federal agent, and he was setting them up because he thought they were drug dealers. So bottom line was that they were all packing. The biker was packing, they were packing. So the bikers like, the guys are like, hey, you know, give us the money. And they're like, well, give me the dope. And when he said that, the biker began to pull out his cuete. They pulled out theirs, they shot, they missed. The biker got shot in the back. Now, if I'm confronting you here,
Of course.
how are you going to get shot in the back? 2 things could have happened. One, the backup cops could have shot him when he jumped off his bike.
Right.
Or he could have shot himself when he was pulling the cuete out.
Right.
So in the trial, though they were found guilty, the ballistics were inconclusive. And then an informant came forward, a Chicano that was in the Chicano movement, who came forward and said, I'm working for the government, and I was hired to dismantle the Chicano movement and to bring drugs and guns into the Chicano movement. And the judge did not let him testify. And this is a true case. We went to the federal archives. We pulled out 6,000 pages of transcripts, and the play is based on that. Now, you know, why didn't they let the infiltrator, the government informant testify? You know.
Right.
So this is a true story, and it's a beautiful story in the sense that the community rose up and they went and fought. So when I saw them, free Los Tres, who would think that I'm 14 and then, 40 years later,
Yeah.
I'm doing the play.
Wow.
So I did Oliver Twist
Yes.
and Free Los Tres.
Wow.
Yeah.
Destiny.
Wow. And see, I love that story because number one, it's a real story. It's a Bohai story. It's a Chicano story. And there's lawyers, there's infiltrators, there's activists. It's not just though they were from neighborhoods. Yeah, that's true. But it's not about that. It's about La Raza getting the heroin out of the barrio.
Yeah.
In the height of the Chicano movement.
Right.
So that's what it's about.
During the break, you shared with me something about Antonio Villaraigosa.
Yeah.
Can you share that little bit story?
Well, Antonio Villaraigosa and Gil Cedillo, the councilman, who funded the play, in fact.
Yes.
And Marilena Durazo, who's a state senator, Antonio Rodriguez, who's a civil rights attorney, they were all part of that. Along with Angela Davis and Jane Fonda, they were all in the committee to Free Los Tres. along with Bert Corona, Gorky Gonzalez. It was a big case, bro. It's a landmark case. Now, it was a landmark case because they charged him with Jesse James stature, which is stealing federal money right from the Jesse James when he robbed stagecoaches.
Right.
How are they going to throw that on the Raza? Come on. So they went and made an appeal on that, and they won the appeal, and they took that off, you know.
Yeah.
So they reduced the sentence, you know. But it's a landmark case, and it's a good story because we talk about content, writing stories. Yeah. So this is a story, bro, and the play was a success, and you know, it's gonna be a film one day or a series.
Yeah.
So Free Los Tres, and then I'm working on a hip hop story that I can't talk about. But
yeah.
You're gonna help me with that. We're gonna work on that.
Hell yeah.
We're gonna work on the music on that.
Yeah, let's do it.
We're gonna do that, you know.
Let's do that.
Si se puede, you know, nada like no es que, no es que, bro.
No es que.
There's no reason why we're not gonna work on.
We need to start hashtagging that. No es que. And Alvarez Production. Alvarez Production. You know what? And okay, look, we're coming to a close. We got a couple of minutes, but I want to share something. In 2021, I know you shared a lot of things. Just in case you might have missed something, is there anything that the fans can expect from you on 2021?
Well, 2021, I'm doing another Radiotron with the Levitt. Hopefully, it'll be outside, you know, with the COVID, but they're prepared to do a streaming. Yeah, so they're prepared to do a streaming. So I'm going to show some archival, rare footage of Radiotron in that show.
Okay.
And then I'm working on a series, a hip hop series.
Yes.
That you're gonna be a part. You're gonna be a part of that.
You heard him live.
I'm saying it. You know, because you're authentic, but you're the real deal. And then I'm also working on another play, another script about a circus, Brazilian girl that grows up in a circus. You know, it's a beautiful coming of age story.
Yes.
Because I also am into the circus arts.
Awesome.
You know, I'm a sad clown.
Okay.
You know what my clown name is?
Cepin? I don't know.
It's Hey.
Hey.
But you gotta go like that. Hey. See, put a smile on your face, you know?
That's awesome. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Hey. Awesome.
Hey. So that's what I'm doing. So film, series, live streaming show, or you know, pre-recorded. And then my goal is to plant seeds in the poorest countries and the poorest neighborhoods in the United States.
That's beautiful.
And give seed money. Give seed money. I'm not gonna run and bro.
Right.
I am too old for that. I am too old for that. I'm not doing that. I did it over 40 years. And now I'm focusing on writing, content, and producing. But I'm gonna give seed money.
Okay.
I'm going to give seed money to my children first, and then I'm going to give seed money to communities that are struggling. Say a community, they need DJ equipment. They got it, man. You know, that's a no-brainer. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
that's a reality show. Like, find out what they need, show up, give it to them. But they do have to write. They have to write a little something, you know, why they want that and what their goals are, you know?
Let me ask you this, Carmelo. Is there a book at all in the making?
We did a book. In fact, we did a book for the 33rd. I had everybody there, from Curtis Blow and Shabadoo.
Yeah.
In fact, Shabadoo we self-published. Shabadoo, the last conversation that I had with Shabadoo is he wanted to publish that book.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know,
the Radiotron book.
Okay, I don't know if you know the full story, because I surely don't, other than what I heard on social media, that Shabadoo had passed away. Mm-hmm. Do you know what he passed away of?
Okay, so as I mentioned, my rule of thumb is, if I'm not there, I'm not going to speak on it.
Right.
Like the things that I'm speaking on, Radiotron, I was there.
Right.
So people want to talk about it, but when I look to my right, I look to my left, they ain't there. Right. So they can only speak on what they heard.
Right.
But you got to get it from the source.
Right.
So if I'm not the doctor and I'm not there and I'm at the family, I'm not going to speak on it.
Okay. I got to respect that.
Yeah.
I got to respect that. Okay. Other than that, at this point, is there anything I didn't ask you or anything you want to share, or if anybody you want to shout out?
Well, I just want to share to the people listening that create your possibilities.
Yes.
You know, happiness is a choice.
Yes.
You're still going to have feelings, but you're not your feelings. You know, like choose happiness. It's a choice. It's a conscious choice. You know, and create spaces. Like don't neglect that part of hip hop. That we need incubators. Like where are the people going to practice? Like, okay, who are we sending to the Olympics? Why is it in Paris? Because Paris supported the youth. Korea supports the youth. You know that in Germany they formed a hip hop political party. It's on the ballot this year.
Wow.
In Germany. Okay? They have a hip hop political party. It's called Urbano. So the sky's the limit. This is our time, bro.
Awesome. Man.
This is our time, man. We got this. As the Raza says, we got this. We got this, man. Let's do this. We got this. It's all good. We got this. Let's do this.
That's beautiful.
So that's all I want to share. Shout out to my kids, to my grandkids, to all the hip hop community, because there's too many to list. If I start listing everybody, to the graffiti art community, to the hip hop dance community, to the breakers, the poppers, the pop lockers, you know, to the DJs, the MCs, to the beatboxers, you know, to all the raza, and especially to knowledge, bro. To knowledge. You know, understand that you're a divine being and you're here for a purpose. Find your gift. Align that gift that you have with your purpose in life. And that's going to open up all the doors to possibilities. Like, play in that realm. Play in the realm of possibilities.
Yes.
That's where you want to be. It's possible. If you think it and you say it, it's going to become an action.
Awesome. Okay, everybody. Once again, first and foremost, I want to thank Carmelo Alvarez for being here, for giving me the honor and the pleasure to interview him. He's blessed me tonight. He's blessed you guys with wisdom and knowledge and with history. And with that being said, there's two individuals that I want to name. And every time they have interviews, they never mention one thing, where they're from. And I'm going to go ahead and just say it. Boogaloo Shrimp, which is Michael Chambers, name's Turbo, came out of Breaking 1 and Breaking 2. And Coco came out of Breaking 2. They're both from the city of Wilmington. I don't know why they don't claim it. I don't know if they're ashamed. I don't know. But Coco's from the west side. Michael Chambers, Boogaloo Shrimp, Turbo is from the east side. I stay in the east. We all grew up together. Well, Boogaloo Shrimp's like 1 year older than me. He's the one that taught me how to pop. I started popping in front of Steve Yano's stand, and that's how I got a job. That's how I met Steve. If I would have never learned how to pop by Boogaloo Shrimp, I probably would have never met Steve. So there's a connection there. So, but those two guys pretty much have been seen all over the world just in those two movies, whether we're Breaking 1 or Breaking 2. So other than that, don't ever forget where you came from, okay? Other than that, Carmelo Alvarez, thank you very much, my brother. Thank you for being here. I want to give a shout out to Anthony, who's running the shit. Like, he's running it.
Good job, Anthony.
Yes. And what we're going to do, we need another intern because Roadium Radio is growing. And I said at the beginning of the show, by the middle of this year, we're going to be moving into a bigger building. And if not by the middle of the year, by the end of the year, that's our vision. That's Tony's vision. And I want to give a shout out to Alex Cervantes Enterprise. I want to give a shout out to my son, B. Scanless, Brian, for helping me promote this shit. I want to give a shout out to everybody that subscribed, liked, comment, whether it's positive or negative, it doesn't matter. You guys are still here. Roberto Hernandez, is that his name? Thank you for making it rain on the live chat. Much love, much respect. Other than that, may Radiotron live. Carmelo Alvarez, Tony Alvarez Production, Raza, put your hands up. Or put your hands up. And we out.
That's right.
See you Sunday.